Hi, everybody.
Hi,
Hello,
everybody. Hi,
Hey,
Twitch
Zippy.
World.
Hey, how's it going?
I feel like we start it later and later every single time.
But I think this is actually one of the earlier times we've actually been ready, strangely enough.
So,
Like,
really
Hi, Ray.
interesting.
Hi.
On Discord, I see Melly as being center, and Twitch, it's Morgan. Probably just because it's from
it's
Trev's
Trev's
view.
perspective.
Yeah.
So this tends to be, so I think the orders are pretty consistent, actually.
Hi, Ray.
Yeah, usually
I don't know why they're
Rory in
consistent.
top left,
It's
most of
consistently
bottom left,
inconsistent.
me in the
Yeah.
bottom right, and then the guest is either in the middle or...
I wonder if we have Eric on again, if it'll put him in the middle, though.
Probably.
He's the only one so
He
far
was-
who's been
yeah.
in the dead center.
Yeah, but I don't know. There's got to be a reason, right? It might be alphabetical,
wonder-
like Tater and Tony and Tim
Talara.
all start with T. So maybe that's the problem.
But AJ was...
Well, his is
Not in the middle.
Ecliptive, and he was in where Rory is on stream right now.
Yeah, it's gotta be an alphabetical thing.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah.
I think we all just need to, like...
Okay,
get
so the next
Discord to be
guest
like,
can't
yo.
start with T. Next guest starting with like C or D.
No,
or something.
if you're gonna be on, you had to change your
Tony.
Twitch name so it fits around where... Because what?
Yeah,
Eric,
Zippy's-
Eric and
No,
Discord,
you would
it's
change.
Eric?
You would change your Discord name because that's what the call's for.
You would have to change it
Yeah,
to something that has an I in it, because that's
It's
what made it
like
worse last
it's
time.
Tater Tots, or
Yeah.
it's...
Yeah, or a tater.
Because the only one it's worked for is it's Eric. So we
Right.
have- maybe we should look into
yeah,
that
that's a
next,
good
for
idea.
next
That's
time.
what we'll do.
Or we can spam Discord.
Actually,
and be
wait,
like,
wait.
Yo, make it so we can adjust the...
Is it too late to change it
screens.
now? Like, it's too late to change it now. Like, if you change your name to It's Tater Tots temporarily, will that change it?
I feel like
I
you
doubt it'll rearrange within call.
Yeah, I think you would have to end it and then read it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
That'd be a pain in the butt.
But now we know for next time.
Yeah, next time... Well, so next time it's going to
Yeah, we can
be
try it,
Ian, so then...
Next time will be Ian, so we've already solved our problem. Oh wait,
Yeah.
no, he's Prof Ion on.
Well, we're
this,
gonna
so we're gonna
make him
change
change it, so...
We'll make him Ian, the way it was meant to be.
Or just Ion.
Yeah, that works too, actually. So our special guest here.
How was this a candy corn? I'm sorry.
How is this a candy corn?
What do you mean, how is it?
Well, that's a very
mean-
deep philosophical
My
question.
first question is why
to
you
deal
eating
with.
candy corn?
How is anything anything?
Spooky.
Oh, you just
Yeah.
meant it was shaped funny. Is that?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
couldn't quite tell. Okay.
It looked like a
Like a
goldfish.
goldfish, it did. It really did.
It looked like a tooth
oh.
to me.
Oh, the candy corn.
Yeah. Okay, so
Okay,
Tater
that's entirely.
is
Yes.
our special guest today. He's a friend. We've played many a game with Tater, and Tater actually came to me with the idea of coming on and having like a bit more of a tech-oriented podcast because Tater also works in tech. And I thought that was a great idea. We'll be talking about a lot of stuff today, not just tech. We'll have some like gaming news stories to go through.
Yeah.
and
We'll
probably have
weave
some,
it
like,
in.
fast food tangents stuff like that. An Arby's segment coming up later.
An R&B segment.
No,
No,
Arby's.
Arby's. Oh, we can do an
and
R&B
Arby's.
segment too.
Oh, Arby's.
Arby's. Why not both? Why limit yourself?
The
Well, I know Rory and Melly can play guitar, so I think we have the R&B down.
Yes.
that's true. Yeah.
Get a solid beat.
So Tater.
Yes.
First of all, before I want to first actually cover your history with Twitch before we get into anything tech related. Tell us how you came to be on this platform and how we met you.
Okay, so I actually never signed up for Twitch. I got a Twitch account when Twitch bought Curse, and the accounts just got merged.
Okay.
So one day, instead of having a Curse icon on my desktop, there was just a Twitch one. I was like, well, what the fuck is this? What the fuck is this?
I didn't sign up for this.
Right? I was just so I was talking to my roommate at the time who told me about the merger. And I was just like, this is fucking ridiculous. I don't care about any of this. And then it was a couple of years later, I think late 2017, early 2018. I was just like, fuck it. I have nothing better to do. and I found Tracy Doll's channel where I met Melly and Morgie, and then just kind of evolved from there. I found Tiff's channel and Ash's channel, and at least Tiff is where it was Ash's channel where I met Trev, Tiff where I met Rory, and then through that grew to know Melly and Morgie better through those channels as well. So, and now we're here. And that's my brief Twitch history.
Oh, right on. Yeah. So you found Tracy's channel fairly randomly at the beginning, or were you playing like Friday or Dead by Daylight?
Kind of. I was somewhat interested in Friday the 13th, and she was one of the top streamers on there. So I was like, hey, I'll check it out.
I think I remember like you hang out on a channel and you kind of like there's a lot of people, especially like Tracy's channel. There's like a lot of people usually hanging out. I think the first time I like get registered, like really who you were was I think you were actually playing with Tracy.
Really?
Yeah. And I was like, oh yeah, it's that guy Tater that usually hangs out in the chat. I was like, he's playing with. And then I think that was like the first time, like when someone just becomes distinct, from like hanging out, I don't know, just general chat or whatever.
Yeah.
I just remember you died a lot, so I thought it was funny.
Yeah, no, I never.
This guy's kind of fun.
I never did become good at a Friday.
Yeah, I never did either.
I also grew to kind of not like Friday because there's a lot of cheaters and there was a lot of hackers at the time, and the teaming. It didn't really become inspired to get good at it.
Yeah.
I like Tracy is an actual saint, like for putting up with the amount of nonsense in that game.
I don't know how she does it.
Absolutely, she literal saint. But yeah.
We should get. Can we actually quickly get a? Yep, it's right there. Thank you.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Okay. So that's actually pretty interesting. So I'd never heard one of those stories where the accounts got merged. I actually didn't know that happened.
Oh yeah.
That was like a new one for me. And I guess then it took you quite a while to sort of like head on over to, because I was like you, like I knew about Twitch for a while before I actually ended up being like, all right, let me look at it, let's see what's going on.
Yep. Very much the same. I was just like, I really didn't have any interest in Twitch for a long time.
And now, like, that's like, I mean, speaking for myself at least, and I think probably for everyone else here, it's like hard to imagine my life now without Twitch.
Yeah.
So
it's been pretty amazing.
I think my question for you, Tater, is how did that change? Like, what was the factor or main factor you think that changed it from like you kind of not really caring about it, not really being interested in Twitch, it just kind of being there to like it kind of being more of a part of
the
your
community.
life?
It was, so I would say Tracy has an amazing community that I immediately just kind of like fell into, and it was always fun being there, being a part of it. And then when I just found other ones, like, I found Ash's and I found Tiff's, it was just fun. And I was just like, I want to keep on doing this. I want to support these people, because it's not like they have to do this. They made a choice. So.
Yeah, right on. Yeah, I had seen you. I had seen you in a number of Twitch chats, mostly Tiff's, obviously, because that's where I was hanging out the most at the time. But then I got to know you a lot better actually when you came by my stream. I found out like what kind of games you enjoyed and stuff like that. You and I actually have a lot in common when it comes to games.
Yeah, I definitely feel the same way. Like in Tiff's chat initially, like you were there, I was aware of you, but I didn't really know you.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I forget what it was. I think so. Tiff said that you were streaming something. In her Discord, and I was just like, fuck it, I'll go check it out. Tiff has good taste, and then it was a pretty fast click.
Right? Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, and I remember you in my chat like that time, and the first few times you came in, and I honestly think like watching someone stream or just even playing games with them is like one of the better ways to get to know someone that I've ever encountered. Like,
absolutely, especially when you're playing a game that you both like, and
definitely
build like a discourse or a dialogue over that game.
What game was Rory playing? Do you remember?
He
First
was
time?
It was probably
playing
Oblivion.
Dishonored.
Yeah.
Dishonored, I think it
Oblivion
was.
or Dishonored.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was playing the second one, I believe.
You came in during Mission 7 of Dishonored 2, as I recall. The time travel one?
Yes.
the,
Yes. That sounds exactly right.
Yeah, I remember that quite well.
Yep. Because I remember talking about playing both. What's his fucking name? The old guy and his daughter there.
Yeah, Corvo and Emily. Yeah.
Yeah. We're really cool mechanic getting to play the same game as the both of them with their slightly different power sets.
It is, and I think their next game, Deathloop, has something similar because there are 2 characters in that game, and I assume you get a choice. I'm not really sure how it works. Oh, what's it? Oh, yeah. Talk about your favorite game a little bit.
My favorite game of all time. So I have to put Fable 1 up there. Fable 1 really solidified my love of RPGs. At like, when did it come out? In the early 2000s. And it kind of sort of took off from there. I went back and I played the different Tales games to get me into JRPGs. Played Fire Emblem, played Zelda. So I would say Fable 1 will always hold a special place in my heart, from the story to, and especially it being a Western RPG. From just the story, the mechanics, and some of the dialogue. Like, there's a part in the prologue where you have to guard a little bit of crates when you're still a child, and there's this other kid who's standing there trying to tempt you to like be bad, and if you don't, you're just like stand there like all dutiful, be like, "Oi, you're just gonna stand there looking like a lemon," and like
Looking like a lemon.
yeah, it's just like I don't know what it was, but that little piece of dialogue will always stick with me.
Yeah. That's so Fable. Yeah, so Morgan's been trying to get me to play Fable actually. So
Tater's been trying to get me to play Fable, and I have it now thanks to Tater.
Yes, I believe. Yeah, I bought you the anniversary
Yeah,
edition.
That's what
so
I
it has
have.
all the DLC. Fable 1, fantastic game. Easily my favorite Fable. Fable 2, still an amazing game up until the final boss, because that was a disappointment.
Do we gotta talk about Fable 3?
I'm sorry, what?
There we go.
No, it's not real. No, it's not real. It's not real. Tater doesn't acknowledge it.
Oh.
We learned this about Tater. He doesn't like it.
Is it the controversial
thief?
Fable?
The new
Funny
thief is-
enough.
Can you explain?
That's
Can you
the only
explain to someone
Fable
who
I've
knows
played
nothing
any
about
of,
Fable?
was
Why
Fable
is
3.
it?
So it's not even that it's controversial. It's just that as the series went on, like, it just wasn't good. So, and it has a lot to do with their bad guy. Like in Fable 1, you had Jack of Blades. Jack of Blades was an amazing villain. Like, that's a villain done right. In Fable 2, you had the usurper for your villain, and he was a good villain up until you got to actually fight him, and it was not really a fight. Like, spoiler alert, in Fable 2, you got to the final boss, you didn't actually have to do anything. If you just stood there and waited, he would just die. So
Wait, how is that a boss? How is that a boss
Sounds
fight?
super anticlimactic.
that's
Yeah,
kind of
exactly.
that was like the giant letdown.
Also, can I just say that in Fable 3 also, one of the big things that you do, it's in the very beginning of the game, so it's not much of a spoiler, but very beginning of the game, you have to choose between saving your love or saving the townspeople. That's like the first...
right. Yeah.
That's like
Oh
the-
no! It's like one of those moral
That's like the
choices you have
first-
to make.
yeah.
Yeah, that's like the first big
Oh,
choice that you
gosh.
gotta make.
Mm-hmm.
Most people end up choosing the townspeople because
Right.
Why?
because it's all
Because-
those people.
Melly's just realized that is not the choice she would make in the
No,
game.
I'm like,
Molly?
I know. I go for love.
I said the same thing.
Oh,
I was
no,
like,
no, no. Can
why
I
would
just
you
tell
do
you?
that?
Don't, just to save you some time, do not go for that because what ends up happening is something happens. I can't remember exactly because it's been so long, but they split up apart, and then you find them years later. Turns out they're married, and
oh
so
no!
you I can't
Yeah.
remember what you have to do, but you can get with them eventually, and you
That's
can marry
messed
them.
up.
But it's
You have to like kill their spouse.
something like that, and then
Yeah.
in order
That's
once
messed
you're,
up.
well, wait, because then once you're with them, this is the worst part of it all. Okay, because not only did you sacrifice so many people to save this person, you have to kill the person that they're married to, and then when you marry them and have sex with them, you get an STD.
Yep.
Got it.
Yep.
You know what? It's still a better
Are you
evil
serious?
ending than Infamous
I'm
Second
serious.
Son.
There are no condoms in
although-
Fable.
Well, you're not there. There are condoms, but you're not using one because you want to. Also,
Yeah, 'cause you marry
still-
this person, and
still a better love
Wow.
story than Twilight. Just throwing that one out there.
What?
Actually, what was
What?
interesting, Morgan, while Tater was saying his list, me and Tater have a lot of games in common, but I've realized that every game that Tater likes that I haven't played is one of Morgan's favorite games. Like Fable and the Tales games. I was like, oh damn, this is a lot of Morgan's favorites. Twilight is yeah, Zippy, that's
oh, I know
accurate,
this.
honestly. Yeah, that's literally
Nothing against
what it is.
against Twilight and its fans, but you can't actually talk to Twilight fans about that either.
So I just noticed your Nightbot thing for current guest. Best stream player 2 ever. That is so sweet.
The Tater, I wanted to ask you some tech questions. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely. That's part of why we're here.
Yeah. So okay. So like a lot of people, I think, probably wouldn't realize because they have no reason to realize it if they've never been told the like granularity of how many different things you can do in tech. Like, there's not just programmers.
It is a huge umbrella.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And,
yeah. Massive.
You will definitely benefit from trying to dabble in each, but really specialize in a one.
Mm-hmm. And how did you find your way into your current specialization in tech? Oh, also hello, Eric.
Hi, Eric.
Hi, Eric. No, it's programming shit. Funny. So it was a bit of a journey. And I kind of fell into it like most people fall into their professions. So I started off when I was in high school. My first trade really was programming and web design.
Mm.
Realized I fucking hated programming. Really not a fan of web development. Like, I was good at the whole make it work side, but like making it pretty, not so much.
Sure.
And really, at the end of that trade program, you're pretty much set up to be a freelancer, because you got like 2.5 years of experience, because you're the ones as students who update the school website and all that. Then went to college for IT and program management. Realized couldn't afford that really, so I dropped out. Went joined the army, where my official job title is a 35 Tango, or a military intelligence systems integrator and maintainer. So basically, I just do IT shit, where I get computers and radios and antennas and satellites to all do crazy shit together.
Mm-hmm.
But just for some very specific systems.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of that is just being a system admin. So you're dealing with accounts. You're dealing with the networking side of things. So you have to make sure you don't have any broadcast storms and all that. You're setting up all the routers. You're doing the images for your workstations and for the servers.
Mm-hmm.
You're setting up ADUCT from scratch. And so in learning all of that in the Army, which was about a 10-month course, I was pretty much well equipped to be a sysadmin. Also, and as a part of that 10-month course, for those of you who know your CompTIA certs, I got my Sec Plus, which is a pain in the ass to freaking get. That is a bullshit test.
I don't know what that means. What does that mean?
So Sec Plus is it's a standardized test done by this company called CompTIA. And the reason why it's bullshit is because their company is all about creating tests and getting you to take this test as many times as possible. But in passing it, you're supposed to prove that you know things. Like this is, hey, I have experience because it's recommended to take this test with at least 2 years worth of experience.
And there's tons of them too. It's not just the one Tater did.
Oh yeah. There's like
list.
so like tech jobs are kind of broken into like you have levels 1, 2, and 3. A Sec Plus is the like level 2. Like you're not your so like a level 1 would be like the help desk guy that you call at work to help you like reset your password or like help you with your email account or whatever.
Mm.
And then you have your level 2, which is like more difficult problems.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like your NIS servers fucked up, or you're having authentication problems. You need new PKIs, which are like your certs that will validate that saying you are who you say you are. So when you go to talk to someone else for encryption means, you can validate that.
Mm.
So,
There was a question in particular I had, Tater, actually, about so like as a sysadmin, I've never been a sysadmin myself. One of the things I've encountered with a lot of sysadmins is that you deal not just with technical people like programmers and other people in systems administration, but you deal with a lot of like the management structure. I'm not sure if that's your experience as well in your current position.
Sort of. I deal with it more in the army than I do in my day job.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So, whoopsies. So, you have to be able to translate IT to business and business to IT. Because when I go to talk to, like, my battalion commander, like a lieutenant colonel, he's not going to understand, what a pipeline is.
Yeah.
In like IT terms, or like, he's not going to understand when I say that there's a broadcast storm, or that we have a split horizon, or that's just not things that he's going to get.
Yeah.
And then so being able to like break it down, we call it like to break it down Barney style, to its simplest level and communicate like, okay, we have an issue, we're working on it, give me a day and a half.
Right. Yeah.
And that's kind of like the part that they normally care about. But then also in like setting up various things, the customer never knows what they want. Ever. So they're going to be like, I want this. And you're going to be like, no, you don't. But you have to be able to tactfully say, no, you don't. And then kind of like guide them into be like, okay, I see what you're trying to say. I think it would be a lot more beneficial for you if we did it like this and like this and like this, and you'll end up with this end product, which is kind of what you're, I think, hinting at. And then you have to also be careful to not bruise any egos, because everyone always thinks they have the biggest swinging dick.
Yeah. I didn't think that in my position in like academia, I would ever have to deal with stuff like that, like managers or whatever. But what you have to deal with, which is, I guess, like similar, is instead of having to put it into terms that like, management people can understand, you have to put your research into terms that research funding people want to fund. Like you have to do a lot of like, salesmanship.
Right. You need to use buzzwords like it's nobody's business.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like Red Hat has this new thing that we I guess it's not that new, but we bought into it. It's a hyper-converged cluster. So what does that mean? Well, hyper means too much. Converge means to bring together. So too much bringing together. I don't know. That makes no fucking sense. Gluster, that's a made-up term that a Red Hat made.
Yep.
So
what does it do?
So yeah, you you kind of have to like look at those things and be like, okay, that sounds cool as shit, but it's really nothing. Or it is actually something, and those are just buzzwords to catch eyes of like managers.
Yes, exactly. I really like what Zippy said. The reality is, computers are like math. If you know the fundamentals, you can puzzle out what you need without needing the answer memorized. And this is actually kind of something that me and Morgan were talking about the other day about like how like weird exams are, because like you don't often have to know things without information at your fingertips.
Honestly, that is so true, because if you know you have a missing puzzle piece, but you don't know what that piece is, having enough knowledge that you know the pieces around that piece to be able to just Google it.
Yeah.
Like, knowing where to search is everything. And that generally comes with experience.
Yeah, you can make things faster by having memorized things, but you don't, like, the way I memorize things is just by doing them. I don't memorize them by like reading them and then like reading them over and then reading them over again. Like, I just do this thing a lot.
That's not how you memorize.
Like, we hear, like, a bunch of us play Overwatch, but I don't think any of us have ever studied Overwatch to, like, memorize it, but we remember things anyway.
So, like, my tech lead, he's this ancient dude, super awesome, very, very, very nice. Anytime there's, like, some sort of, like, super advanced problem where I'm just like, I don't fucking know. He's like, oh, it's, he'll, like, kind of, like, sit back, like, and then you'll see his eyes, like, roll back, into his head, like he's like buffering and searching the giant archive that is his brain. Give him like 5 minutes to be like, okay, it's this. You're like, and then by the end of his explanation, be like, ask me how I know that. You've done it. You've done it before. I've done it before.
It's like Sherlock Holmes going inside his mind palace.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's kind of scary too, because this is the guy I was hired to like replace so he can retire. And like, yeah, but like his knowledge is just so vast that anytime he tries to like impart it upon me, it's just open mouth, turn on fire hose, and I have to like spend a week just decompressing. Like, what did I learn today? Oh my god!
You're saying is you can't roll your eyes to the back of your head and access some sort of info that he planned into you.
Exactly. Okay. Well, it's a matter of writing everything as much as I can down, and then like compartmentalizing it into like what makes sense, because it took me a solid like 4 months to learn how to translate Mike.
Oh right, yeah.
Because he does not break things down Barney style. He's just, you need to know the fucking terms, and if you don't, figure it out. So yeah.
By the way, Tony, I believe that 100% that you could do that with Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
Oh yeah, me too.
Yeah, that was I have no trouble believing that at all.
A WinZip.
Tater, can you believe that human people in history paid for WinRAR? In the world in which we live?
Okay, yes, I can. And the reason for that is because people also believed that the Prince of Nigeria was going to give them money. Like,
oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Like, come on.
Wait, he isn't? I was still hoping that was going to actually happen someday.
Hey guys, give me a second.
Yeah.
No.
1001, 1002.
I actually had a friend who was fooled into doing some stuff on his computer by one of those like not telemarketing, because they're not marketing anything, they're just criminals.
They're trying to scam you.
They like convinced
they're telemarketing crime.
They worked for Microsoft, and the thing I told him, I said, look, let's say something was wrong with Windows. How long do you think it would take to get an actual human person on the phone to help you with their problem? Your problem. They're definitely not calling you, right?
Yeah.
No company in the world is that proactive.
Yeah, doesn't exist. Yeah, does not exist.
If only, but no.
Yeah. Also, if you have a problem with your Windows system, it's because you are the beta tester now.
yeah, literally.
And then they might get around to fixing said issue in like a year and a half on a random patch Tuesday.
Yeah. Side note: I miss Windows 7. I still miss it. The
Windows 7 was.
You guys, I'm gonna BRB for like 2 minutes.
yeah, no time,
Morgan. Yeah, Windows 7 was fantastic. I kind of am a little disappointed in the state that Microsoft is in now because I just feel like their standards have dropped, and not like dropped a little bit. Like it's no longer the bottom of the barrel. They've like moved the barrel aside, lifted up the floorboards, and are scraping at the shit that's underneath that.
Yeah. It's pretty bad, and like I don't think it makes it much better the fact that like I find the Microsoft ecosystem can be pretty dreadful. Depending on what you're trying to do with it. It's actually better in technical applications than in non-technical applications, which is interesting.
Right.
Like if you're trying to use, Excel and OneDrive or something like that.
Yeah. What I find interesting is the difference between the two like communities. Or the three communities of Linux, Windows, and Apple.
Yeah.
So like Windows communities are just like everyone's trying to put out like the same fire, but just different parts of it, and they're like, shit. Linux communities is just like, how do you not already fucking know this? Just do these random bits of terminal code and blah, 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 and it's fixed. It's like, wait, what?
Yeah,
how
exactly.
do you know that?
Yeah.
I like that you became an actor from the 50s when you did that.
And then there's your Apple people, just like, I click and it work.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, which is great when it works and very bad when it doesn't.
Yes. So often my analogy for Linux is that it's or for Apple is that it's Linux for stupid people, because it's literally what it is. It's a Linux.
I'd say it's
shell.
Linux for busy people.
Okay, you're also a lot nicer than I am.
He is Canadian, so that's.
Yes, Rory is my Canadian half.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
If you're wondering why I'm not nice, it's all over there.
Yeah.
You guys are gonna need to shake hands at Clark.
You're the yin.
Like,
you're the yin to the yang.
I always find that really really interesting, like how they divert. Like Linux is an interesting like paradigm, generally speaking. I had my old supervisor for my master's degree used to say like, he said, do you ever wonder why like every year Linux people say this is the year that Linux takes hold in the mainstream, and in no year does it ever happen? And he chalked it up. He said the single biggest factor in his opinion was like the fact that you have to buy in en masse to get people to write software that actually works on your operating system. Like, let's say you want, Photoshop or something like that.
Right.
It's like, no matter how good you make GIMP, it actually doesn't matter because GIMP has no name recognition. You can keep making Linux stuff the best it's ever been, and no one's going to buy into it because everybody's bought into the Adobe thing.
Right. So, and then the only people that are going to buy into it are the people that are, tech savvy enough to do the research, or not even tech savvy enough, just willing to do the research, because I find more often than not the biggest part of being a sysadmin is just, can I fucking Google that for you?
Yeah, exactly.
Because like that's 90% of what my job is I have a problem. All right, well here I can fucking Google it.
Yeah, and then you're good. Also, Zippy's 100% correct. It's the same with games.
Oh,
like,
absolutely.
You can make and there are some, it's getting better now because of the way games are presented.
Marketing is everything, and that's why marketing has the biggest budget. And things like Linux are not marketed because they're freeware.
Yeah.
Also, side note, Linus Torvald, the creator of Linux, does not get enough credit in the mainstream.
No, yeah, he hardly gets any.
Granted, he does have a bad rap for being kind of a dick.
He's not the most personable person to put on the camera, but neither is Mark Zuckerberg, so...
Right. But, but Linus he went through a bit of a tough streak because he was getting really heavily harassed and attacked and, like, even threatened by, like, SJWs who were like, this one person who wrote this bit of code said this, like, off-kilter thing 10 years ago on Twitter. It's like, well, okay, but his code's good, and that's all Linus cares about.
Right, you're saying he doesn't take that into account during his like when he's like surveying what people are doing.
Right, he's like, okay, but his code is good, and that has nothing.
It works.
Right, it's like A has nothing to do with B here.
Yeah, there's no correlation.
Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't actually know about that.
Yeah,
I guess I haven't kept up with that sort of thing.
it's been rough on poor Linus.
He's done some
That's
pretty
true,
exceptional work.
Zippy.
In his day.
He's not a fan of what Linux has become, which is a shame because like 60% of the internet runs off of Linux.
This is another thing. Like, people may not have Linux on their desktop computers and their laptops, but people don't realize how much stuff they use is actually Unix based.
Yeah, like if you have an Android smartphone, that's Unix based.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Most
So is your
websites-
iPhone actually is also
Yes.
Unix?
Yes.
Yeah.
Most websites that you visit, I'm pretty sure most streaming services like Twitch or YouTube or whatnot, their servers are probably Unix based. It would be insane
yes.
to think that they're that they're Windows based, and they're sure as shit not a fucking Mac based.
No, actually, correct me if I'm wrong, but Twitch actually modified, Twitch's chat is kind of like an internet relay chat, isn't it? Like, it's like based loosely off of like an old like IRC chat.
They took what Curse did. That's why they bought Curse.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're like, we don't really do this good, and Curse was as a company was looking to get bought or purchased.
Yeah.
So, and originally Curse asked Discord if they wanted to buy them, and Discord turned them down, saying no, we like the competition.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So, and then Twitch picked them up, and that's why Twitch also has like a video chat service as well.
Right. Yeah.
So we instead of doing this call on Discord, we could also do it on a Twitch. But I don't know how that would work like streaming wise. But
me neither, actually.
Well, it was like this option or it was Skype, and then like we're sure shit not using.
We're
Skype.
not using Skype. I would have reached through this computer all the way to frickin' California just to slap you, Trev.
I would literally. I wouldn't. I can't touch Skype.
Yeah. My work uses Skype Business, and I hate it.
Yeah. I've always really loved. really love Discord. It's been great, and we do like movie nights from time to time on Discord that have worked really well since Rabbit decided to stop everything.
Stop being useful
and to turn into casts.
And then cast isn't useful at all. So
the day that they made it so you couldn't have a private room, it was just like, you're pretty much dead to me now. Like, I don't want random people just popping in here. This is like, I got me and like 5 other friends. Hi, Trinsic.
Hey, Trinsic, how's it going?
Thank you, Crepe and Eric, for the host.
Yeah, it's just like...
Hi, Crepe.
We need some alerts out here.
They had such a good thing going.
That's it's actually unfortunate, and it wasn't for legal reasons, right? Like,
I don't think so. Like,
which
I
is odd because I would have thought it was for legal reasons.
Right? I couldn't find any sort of like legal reasons at all. I think they just had a change in management and a really piss fucking poor one.
Yeah, I guess so.
Like Rabbit had such a good thing going, and it's gone.
I love this string of emotes, by the way, Zippy. Like this string of highs.
That is pretty nice string of highs. Is that
very well done?
I think I have all of those.
Is that a?
Yeah, Melly, you do have all of those.
Huh.
Yeah. I can do it too, Zippy.
I do not have all of those. I don't have smokes.
Okay, yeah.
Friends
Yeah,
like
that's the only one of the bunch I don't have either.
I don't know if you meant to put a link or something, or if you actually put 3 asterisks, but...
Miss something.
I think maybe it's a clip or something. It seems like it would be a clip based on the context of that sentence.
Yeah. I don't know.
Twinsies. Melly das Pinhead. Just kidding.
It's not Das Pinhead. It's Das Pinhead.
It's das Pinhead.
Yeah, it sounded like you said Spinhead, and I was like, no.
No, we've been over this like 5 times. I played the Pinhead song for Zippy the other day.
I think Zippy's probably regretting letting us know how to correctly say his name right about now.
No,
Zippy,
he
you
loves
could just
it.
correct
He
the
loves it.
capitalization in your username and make it Pinhead instead of like all lowercase after Zippy.
Oh my. What was I'm sorry, I totally lost track of what was happening. Dude, why is the A+ cert info so useless?
Okay, so
Cert
A+
info is really tricky.
A+ is it's that useless because that's meant to just get you like a level 1 help desk job. So yes, it's basic. Thank you, Ray. That stuff like, what does a CMOS battery do? What's a mouse? What's a keyboard? This is a Cat5 cable. This is an RJ45 connector. This is a crimper. This is a cable cutter. This is a splitter. This is a punch down tool. You know, just really basic shit like that.
I have a question for Ray, actually, since it's a tech podcast. I know for a fact that Ray knows some code, because I've seen Ray code in chat. Because in Melly's chat one day, we were coding for some reason. As Pelly probably remembers.
And I had no idea what was going on.
And I don't know how Ray knows how to code. Ray, did you do, like, coding classes in college?
Y'all were doing like coding jokes.
Why do I need to remember DDR speed?
So, Eric, honestly, shit like that is just for the test. You have to remember that CompTIA is a company, and the point of a company is to make money. So they put questions like that in to make it harder for you to pass. The more like obscure and the more shady that the question is worded, the better it is for them, because the more times you fail, the more times you have to take the test, the more times you pay them. So that's why there's a lot of stupid stuff like that. Like when I was taking the Sec Plus test, like you'll have a question and there's multiple choice answers, and 2 of the answers are basically the same and they're both pretty much right, but one of them's just a little bit more right. And so you have to choose the one that's, you know, slightly more right, according to CompTIA. Even though that answer isn't, like, not at all how I would do it in the real world.
Ray, I didn't know that, oh, hey, Morgan's back.
Oh, really?
Ray, I didn't know that you used to be a computer science major. A fun fact for you, Ray, Jimmy Fallon used to be a computer science major.
Jimmy Fallon, really?
Yeah, maybe he started with COBOL, which he was good with, but he couldn't do C++, so he dropped out. Or, like, switch majors or something. But, Ray, one day, you can be the host of The Tonight Show now, right? Because that's the qualification. You have
Wait,
to
whoa,
use to
so
be a
he's on
computer science
track.
major.
We know the next person for The Tonight Show.
It's Ray.
Oh my god, Jimmy Burr. No wonder he's...
So, Roy, I want to point out, you just really showed that's a good way to show somebody's age. It's like, I started with COBOL. It's like, ooh.
Yeah, exactly. Programming languages are great for showing someone's age.
Yeah, it's like, I remember programming back in the day. I started with Fortran. It's like, why?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Jesus. I wrote everything in assembly.
Yeah, like my buddy was up for like a job, like this guy I knew back in math, and he was like, someone was like, well, we're coding in Fortran. And he was like, I know some Fortran, so that's fine. He's like, no, you don't understand. I think it was Fortran 77 they were using.
Oof.
And it was like, dude, this guy wasn't born when that came out.
Yeah, like. So actually, I have a previous coworker that, he was hired to update this program where it was written in a Fortran. and now he's going to rewrite all of it in C++. And
that's going to be a task.
Yep.
Also, Fortran starts counting at 1, and that's bullshit. But
yeah,
it's a personal gripe
he has had this job for almost a year now. Hasn't wrote a lick of code.
Really?
Yeah.
What? Wait, hold up. Just because he's busy with the like deciphering everything from Fortran?
Nope. He is busy trying to get the mandatory computer-based trainings done.
Oh God.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what it's like to work in the government.
Yeah, I believe it. Yeah, I miss old Conan and Craig Ferguson. Those were my late night show hosts that I really enjoyed the most. Yeah, right on, Eric.
Yep. Eric knows. Yeah. Jimmy Fallon was good for like a season or two, but like,
we are basically best buds, Eric, at this point. Between MGS and late night talk show hosts.
Mm-hmm.
We did Fortran and COBOL. Oh damn! Like in university. Oh wait, we did a class where we basically did a history of. Oh okay, good. Yeah. So
history. Okay.
They
I was
intentionally
like,
did old shit.
Yeah, I was like, hold on, Zippy, you're not that old. Like you just told me your age like a stream or two ago.
Oh God, Prologue. Oh no.
Lua and Prologue, Jeebus.
At least Lua, there's still stuff written in it that is tolerable. I
guess, but
the Dota 2 API is written in Lua.
Is it really?
Yeah. Because I had a guy in my lab when my lab the AI and games lab when I worked there when it first started in the first month, and that was his project. He was working with Dota 2 API and he was learning Lua. So then he gave up on that because Lua, and then he switched to working on like a StarCraft related project that was written in C++.
There you go. Yep. At least Zippy. At least it sounds like you didn't have to do anything in like assembly.
I mean, yeah. Oh, I've been there.
No, thank you.
Go try learn Prologue. Yeah, Prologue is disgusting.
No.
Old school AI guys.
Oh, he did have to do assembly. I'm sorry for your loss.
Yeah.
Loss. Ugh.
Yeah, I did it in my like computer architecture and organization course. I also did assembly code in
hashtag never again. Yeah. Fuck that.
It's like a fun puzzle, but like it's not a good way to program. Like
sure. I mean, if you like having a jigsaw puzzle where nothing fits.
It's literally yeah. It's like a tricky. It's like a jigsaw puzzle that the person who made it, like 4 people made it, and they all hate each other.
Right, and like each of the pieces, like a quarter of the pieces, all have rusty nails embedded in them. Another quarter of the pieces are made of like broken glass. The other quarter of the pieces you don't even know, and then the last quarter you just kind of like look at and you're like, that's nasty.
2 weeks to decide whether to pick information systems or computer science. Oh, Eric, are you in school?
Yeah, he started back school again. So.
Oh, that's a really good. Eric, if you want to like send me like a message or something, and you really want to like talk about this, like I can call you sometime like on Discord or something. We can actually we can have a very full conversation. Like much more than we could do justice to it here.
Right. I never finished college, so I'm a bad example. Or I guess depending how you look at it, a good example of how you still get in the business without college.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. Yeah, we're still in that. Yeah, we're still in that time. Oh yeah, no problem, Eric. Yeah, and Ray's here too.
Just slide right into those
Transic.
DMs.
Just slide on right on in. You're like, hey babe, you play Xbox?
Oh my god!
That's a Morgan story. That actually
Morgan.
Love you, Morgie.
Did that happen on Twitch, or did that happen in real life?
Yeah.
Someone hey babed you about playing console.
Yeah. Trev asked if it happened on Twitch or like IRL.
At school? What?
At school. Oh my god.
Oh dear God.
Oof. Hold on. That Wow.
I played PC Scrub. School.
That's the right answer. That is the right answer, Paka. Good job. I'm proud
when
of you.
I was like going to like school first, like as an undergrad student, like you know, you got a lot of worries as an undergrad student. That's like one of the worst times to hear people for people to be annoying to you, because like you've got your own stresses and you're in your own head. You've got a million things to do and only time to do 500,000 of them.
Right.
It's
that seems to be when most people come up and bother you, because that's
literally
the worst time.
Well, it's funny because like as a sysadmin, if nothing's going wrong, you have nothing to do. But then, like, all the fires will happen all at once. Everyone's just gonna be like, I need your help right now. It's the most important thing. You need to fix it this instant. It's like, holy shit, hold on. Hold up. Wait, what's the problem first? It's broken. You're gonna have to be more specific.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, though that's actually kind of the same as being a TA, because like you're sitting in your office hours. Who's there? Nobody. Oh, exam next week. Your office hours now have a billion people in them. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they don't disperse their questions, right? Which I understand. Like I'm sure like that I was probably the same way when I first.
They just wait to last minute.
I thought my phone went off. I thought it was gonna be Morgan making up for earlier.
I never do that kind of stuff ever.
Nope, certainly never, not once.
Nope, never. I've never done anything wrong.
Roy,
in my life,
we know what you were doing when you were in college. You were out there using the Funkel cups with the dice and making it loud as noise.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's what he was doing.
Oh god, yeah. No, I was mostly bothering people. Yeah.
So he was the person he was just all getting upset about other people.
Studying Dutch independently. I don't know. I'm trying to think if I know a single person from the Netherlands.
Everybody that I ever tell that I have a boyfriend from Newfoundland is always like, "Whoa, that's so cool, Europe!" And I'm like, "You're thinking
Netherlands.
of the Netherlands."
Oh, interesting.
Isn't
Newfoundland's also cool, okay? Like just
They're like, oh, that's not as cool.
Isn't TS from Finland?
TS is
Yes,
from
yes, it's
Finland.
from Finland.
Yeah.
Right.
I do have a streamer that I follow that's Dutch. I think she might be the only person.
Where is
I
that
know that's
guitar
remote.
coming from?
That's
That's from John. Yeah.
Oh, I was just like, I hear this. But,
Oh, you have friends on League. Yeah. Dutch.
Like-
I mean, Dutch is a cool language. I've heard it, but I don't know anyone who speaks. Unfortunately. Well, now I will. I'll know Paka.
Yeah.
That's a
Go
great
Paka.
analogy, Zippy.
Be that friend. I'll use car analogy.
Paka, does that mean you know how to say "I will destroy your bloodline" in Dutch? Just trying to. What
Right.
phrases have you
Zippy,
picked up?
that's that is
Yeah, that's
very
100%.
very accurate. So basically, what I end up doing, I go, okay, what are you trying to do? Well, I'm trying to do this. It's like, okay, now what's not happening? Well, I get to this part, and then it just stops here. I'm like, okay, I can work with that.
Hi, Beast.
Hi, Beast.
Hey, Beast.
Howdy, Beast.
Yeah, no, it's better to put, that goes for everything, even academics. Like a student asked me today, he said, I know I don't have to show these steps here, but can I? I was like, yes,
Yeah,
of course.
of
It's
course.
always better to show more
It's
than
always encouraged. It's like if you don't know
Mhm.
how they got from here to here, if they just write the answer. And it's just
Yeah.
Well, and I
So,
definitely know there are some professors too that will if even if you don't have to show your work, if you're not positive what you're doing, showing some kind of work to show where you how you got to the answer that you got. I know a bunch of professors that will just at least give you 2 points for showing some kind of work.
They
even
should.
if you got it wrong.
Right.
They should, honestly,
I had
100%.
a bunch of most of my math professors when I was in a community college, like, okay, if you show your work and your answer is still wrong, but you had the right process, I'll give you like half credit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Because you at least know how to do it. You just somewhere fucked up and forgot how to add like 2 + 3. Happens to me all the time.
Yeah, for real. Like I had a high school teacher that I really admired who had a like a saying. He was like, "There's a guy in this." He told me he's like, "There's a guy in this chemistry class, in every chemistry class, who he's trying so hard. He's trying his ass off, but he can't understand chemistry for whatever reason. He wasn't just like a lot of people. They have struggled with math. Or a lot of other people struggle with English literature.
Right.
He's like, I write my exams so that guy can get his 50. He can pass, right? Whatever the pass is, 50 or 60.
70, but
it's 70 in some cases. Yeah. And I'm like, I think that's a good attitude. Like, exams should be easy to pass and maybe hard to get an A.
For me, math made perfect sense up until Calc 3.
What did you do in Calc 3 in your school?
I would tell you if I actually knew what was going on.
Okay, yeah.
I got to the end of that. I got like a 70, like for my final grade, and my professor was like, "So this is your last math class, right?" "Yes." "Good. Here's your 70. Don't come back."
Right.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Like everything made perfect sense up to that, and I'm just like, "What's going on here? What did I miss?"
See, I'm worried
No
about
idea.
math if I do CS. We are. That's don't worry, Eric. That's going to be featured in our conversation.
Okay. Yeah. You're gonna
now this term.
you're gonna need some solid math skills for CS because if you do end up going like a programming route or like a computer engineer route, you're gonna have to understand like your basic order of operations, and then how that ties into the bigger equation.
Beast, can you what?
That's illegal.
That's a story I want to hear.
Wait, what?
I guess one of his math teachers tried to force religious beliefs on them in
So
math class.
that sounds like the Spanish teacher that we had in high school, which is why I never took Spanish.
That's wild.
That is... Teachers are weird, man. Because you get such a wide spectrum of, like, the really good ones who give a fuck, then the other ones
Don't give a shit.
who, like, don't actually give a fuck and don't really teach. Then you get that weird middle one that, like, tries to push an agenda.
I've never had that. Is this something that is, like, you've all experienced? Like, in school?
That's a common American teacher thing.
Yeah.
Like you're not really shown how to, like, where to look to find your own answers. It's you're in school, you're gonna have a left view or you're a pariah.
Okay, Beast.
So, like, I'm sorry.
Like a
like,
fight.
Canada, this is one of those, like, I was talking to Morgan about this the other day. Like, obviously, like, we share a border and we share a lot of, like, cultural things like HBO. But, like...
right, okay.
Like,
Sure.
Like, we
I don't
definitely-
know. How about English, maybe?
Yeah, like I don't know if HBO is like the best
HBO
example.
is.
But
A lot of
yeah.
cultural
French,
things,
French,
HBO.
French
Alexis on
fries.
fire. Yeah. Like, you know, but like there are definite like school cultural differences. Like me and Trevin Morgan were talking. This was like ages ago. Well, it wasn't ages. It was August, right? So like this year. But like I think they mentioned that there was like police in the school.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
my school
Our
had a police
resource
officer.
officers.
Yeah,
we did
had
not have cops. Like
we had
Have you never
officer.
had a code red at your school, or you have to pretend
or
to
a,
be as an
like,
active,
we
or
had
like
I
to
don't know what
train
that
for
is.
like shooters at our school. Did you have
active
to do
shooter,
that?
active shooter
Yeah.
drills?
Yeah.
We had active shooter drills. We had tornado drills.
Tornado drills.
Or
Or like
Tornado
I think it was a code black.
And some like in a lot of like public schools now, instead of like especially like the inner city, there's like metal detectors that you have to go.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
But yeah, I know that it was something like, I can't remember how many, but for sure we had what they called a resource officer. And that was a very normal thing at our school,
see,
like at most schools.
For us, Officer Wallace he was a truant officer. He was just there to make sure you were there and not elsewhere.
We had a
Also,
deputy.
if he caught you speeding, he would fuck your day up.
Wow, that's pretty wild to me. Canada's worst case scenario for schools is spilled syrup. I love that.
Right, we got
Just
code red. They spilled some
a
spirit
little too
syrup.
sticky. A little too sticky.
Yeah, like we definitely didn't have any like situations like that. Like, well, obviously we didn't have any actual situations like that, but we didn't have any preparedness for situations like that. It wasn't until I think I told this to Morgan. Did I tell the podcast about when I was in university, there was supposedly a shooter on campus. Like,
Oh
one
no,
day.
that was on Tiff stream, but I know.
Oh
The story.
yeah.
I don't remember this.
Yeah,
That was when we
story.
were playing the
Well,
Vivian.
Yeah. What happened was like, so there was like I got into school like real early that day at like 8 a.m. And there was an announcement on the PA system, which I didn't know we had. Like it's a university, and I didn't know there was a PA system, but there was, saying like, "Hey, like someone here has a weapon. Like you need to stay where you are." And I was with two friends, and I was like, "Fuck staying where we are, because staying where we are will get me shot in the face. So let's leave instead and go somewhere where we won't get shot." So me and my friends got up and we started leaving the building in the opposite direction of the place where the individual was. My buddy, I got a text message from my buddy Chris, partway through, and I said, "Hey Chris, meet me at this entrance," and then me and him and our group of guys there were gonna go somewhere else. So Chris, it turns out, had arrived on campus after the PA announcement. So he did not know. He was the only person probably on campus that didn't know that there was someone threatening people. He arrived right after the announcement, but right before they closed everything down. So just in that like sweet spot of pure ignorance.
Wow.
And while he was getting to me, on his way to me, he saw a custodian, and the custodian was like wanting to help Chris out and like keep him safe. He said, "Do you want me to lock you in the closet?" and Chris was like, "Get the fuck away from me," and like beeline in the other direction.
That is hilarious.
Oh my
so,
God.
I thought that was gonna
kidding
be
me?
the story of the guy you saw who was like on the phone, and then you were like, "Hey, you don't want to go that way. There's like a guy with a weapon." He's like, "Yeah, but I gotta get to this meeting," and then like,
Yeah. I tried to. That was the same day. Yeah, he's like, "I gotta get to a meeting." I was like, "Bro, like,
No.
he has a gun, like it's a firearm, dude." And he was like, "It's my supervisor," and I'm like,
fucking
if I'm
dude,
ever-
you are way more dedicated
like,
than I
I'm
will ever
never
be.
like, what job? Like, you're a grad student. Like, I'm a grad student. We don't make that much that it's
Yeah,
like worth
like-
it for going in. You know what I mean? Like, I ain't a dentist. You know, where it's like I'm gonna
yeah.
make a bunch of money today.
Like, you're not in the army. You don't need to do that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh my god.
I forgot about that first part though, the one where the janitor was like, "Hey, you want me to
Yeah.
close in the closet?"
I love that. I love that.
That is hilarious.
I mean, at least he asked.
Yeah.
There's that.
I bet afterward, after it
Yeah.
got explained to your friend, it seemed a lot more like clear what that guy's intention
No,
was. That's supposed
like-
to like.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, because as soon as I saw him physically, I told him, like, before he could say anything, and he was like, "Oh!" Like, that's what was going on.
That's fantastic.
So, Tater,
Yes.
one of
That's
the
me.
things we do, as you're aware of, having seen this podcast before, is during the sort of, like, second hour of, I don't know if it's like formalistically divided by hours or not, but we sometimes talk about
At
like
some
some stories
point,
that are happening in games
Yeah.
and get
Act
our
2.
guests. This way we can get. This is also one of the great ways to know how they react
And open curtain.
to things. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we actually had a number of them here.
Oh yeah, we gotta talk
Yeah.
about Fallout first, guys.
I need
So-
to get.
Yeah, I agree.
This
Well,
is
their
hilarious,
bullshit
okay?
subscription service that was
The-
about
yeah.
$100.
Basically, with Fallout First, it was supposed to be that
is ridiculous.
you pay $100 a year.
Mhm.
You get a private server. You get like a certain amount of credits or whatever the heck their currency system is in that to buy stuff.
Tods. Tods.
Tons.
We'll say it's Tods. Fuck it.
Tods. Yes.
So you get a
So you
scrap box,
get
limited storage.
yeah, you get a scrap box that
With
makes it so that you
unlimited
can have
storage.
unlimited storage. Yes.
Yep.
And so far, and you also get like a couple of like extra little things.
Yeah,
So
you get
the best
this
thing about this
fast travel point.
is that you pay $100 a year for this, so you can get all this shit. And so far, the servers are not private. The scrap boxes are deleting things permanently. And I think people have said that it's been crashing on their system.
Of
So
course it
That's
is.
amazing. I also love like some of these items too. Like the scrap box, I can see being useful. The survival tent that gives you a fast travel point. Okay, cool. But like the in-game currency, I mean, if it's a private server, who the fuck cares? An exclusive ranger outfit, again, private server, who the fuck cares? You can spawn it in, and unique icons and emotes. Again, private server, who the fuck cares? Like,
paying $100 a year
yeah,
for a server that's not even private.
For a server that
EA
is
wasn't involved.
apparently
And
This
it's
sounds
eating up
very
your
EA-ish.
right. So like for a server that is apparently not even private and is enough of a resource hog on your client side system that it's causing it to crash, like what the fuck? Come on, Bethesda, I know you don't test stuff, but come the fuck on.
Also, like you remember like a number of years ago, like people were saying even before Skyrim came out, which I think is hilarious. People were saying like single player's dead, like we're going multiplayer. Like this is a matter of record. You can find it. Like,
Mhm. Yeah.
A lot of people
but like,
saying that.
and it's obviously okay. So first of all, obviously bullshit, right? Especially
Mhm.
with the vantage point we had now. Like
See,
then
that's-
Skyrim came out and that was so good. And
It's like my least favorite thing when I hear gaming companies saying that
Something's dead.
single player games are dead.
Yeah.
Like, wow, way to
They're full of
really
shit.
way to really bring down every other game developer that
Mhm.
does single player games for one thing.
Yep.
yeah,
Not to mention, let's say
Last year we had Spider-Man.
how
God of
about
War.
Spider-Man? I mean, I know Red Dead had a
multiplayer system, yes.
portion, but
Right,
their
but
big
you're-
part of that was
Has.
Right.
Yeah.
It's still
But-
largely a single player game though.
it's
Yeah.
still a single player game. That's still considered a single player game.
Mhm.
And so the fact that we had Spider-Man and Red Dead Redemption, God of War,
Mhm.
Resident Evil, Kingdom
Yep.
Hearts,
DMC
like all of those
All-
games.
Yep.
Um,
All these amazing
Yakuza,
single player games.
Horizon Zero Dawn.
Horizon, yes,
Horizon Zero
exactly.
Dawn. Oh my god, Horizon Zero Dawn. Love
The
The
that game.
Last of Us.
Hellblade.
Yeah, It's
Halo,
P5. Yeah,
Last of Us.
great example, Beast. And I like what
Yeah.
Beast said.
Isolation, Persona 5, yeah.
Any
Which, by
of the
the way-
Tales games.
Speaking of which,
But so
Horizon
far, it's dead.
Zero Dawn does have a pretty decent stealth aspect to it, so I think you would like it a lot, Aurora.
I've been strongly considering playing it. Actually,
Also,
Rory,
your primary weapon is a bow, so you would also really like that.
that's
It's
what
a
I've heard, yeah.
fantastic game.
Hey, Rory.
And there's
Yeah, what's
stealth
up, Morgan?
elements in it. There's stealth elements in it. So
I have that game, so if you can try it when you come here.
Definitely, I'm looking forward to that.
And just take it back.
you
Um,
guys.
yeah, the,
Be like, it's mine now.
I highlight some. I want to highlight something B said because I think it's a sentiment a lot of people are sharing more and more. I'm gonna be 100% honest. I've been thinking about playing a lot of old games because of how much the way of business has been pissing me off. Yeah, that's a
Yep.
this is an attitude that I think we can
So,
relate to, like a lot of us actually.
Yes.
Yeah.
Rory and I, you and I have had conversations about this at length, mostly on your stream,
Yes.
about how like I don't buy games from certain companies because I don't like how they do business. Like I refuse to buy a EA game. Even though
EA,
I'm about
Activision
to-
lately.
Yeah, even though I'm about
Bethesda
to
lately too.
tomorrow so we can play
Epic.
Dead Space 3.
Yeah, we're making a bit of a principal sacrifice to play a certain game together. But I think
Goodbye,
that's
morals.
acceptable. Yeah.
It's like $20, whatever.
Exactly. Yeah.
So 99% of the time, I refuse to buy games from like EA or Ubisoft or
Hey, Jared, how are you? And also, I
Activision.
totally get that.
yeah, or even like the way that Blizzard has been acting with this whole China thing. I'm just like, jeez, God.
Yeah,
I used
that's
to
a
like
little
you.
wild too, to be honest. That the fact that they've been banning people and making it so people can't talk about that. Not to mention when people were trying to delete their Blizzard accounts, they were actually barring them from doing that, which they're not allowed to do. So
Yeah.
That should never be acceptable.
It's interesting. I was just reading an article today about how the Senate had to step in and be like, Blizzard, you need to stop.
yeah,
Also,
U.S. Congress.
Yeah,
And it
they're
was
like-
it was a bipartisan statement. Like we can't agree on anything, but it was everybody's like unilaterally agreeing that was a bad.
Also, it was
we have elected officials commenting on esports.
But they were all also like, hey, you need to give him his fucking prize money back. He won.
Yeah.
Like, give it back to him. And they're like, okay.
And like the whole point about free speech, not to mention what I would like to know, where I would like to ask Blizzard, like, okay, so can you show us in your in your policy that winners in your competitions are not allowed to talk about like worldly issues or something.
And they can't because they've allowed it to happen in the past. They have a precedent set.
So the fact, I think it's going to be kind of bad for them. Eventually, I really think that this person is going to be able to get their money back, hopefully.
Well, I'm pretty sure that the issue was already ordered, and I think the payment was processed, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Don't quote me on it.
Is there a thing in their policy?
Yeah, like okay, so Eric is saying that he did. But like this has been a terrible PR move for Blizzard.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, if they just make misstep after misstep, though, like I think that was the thing. The goodwill has already.
Yeah, like they tried to double down on their bullshit though, and it's like, stop, just admit you fucked up.
Wait, Beast, what Call of Duty game was that? As a history person, that would make me so upset.
That was the one when Battlefield 1 came out.
Yes. So Call of Duty, they tried to go back and make a World War II game.
Was that one Call of Duty World War II? Was that the one?
I think it was World at Wars.
But
I think it was World War II or something.
But so one of the big things that they were presenting in it was females on the front line, which, admittedly, in World War II.
Wait, hold on. This was Battlefield, wasn't it?
No, it was around the same time as Battlefield, though.
Oh,
yeah,
it came out
Battlefield
Battlefield.
Because Battlefield 1 was World War 1.
Yeah, and they had COD.
It was
WW2.
World War II, and it was definitely COD.
Right. Yeah, it was the same problem people had with it, but it was a different game.
Here's the thing where it went wrong is they were trying to be historically accurate, like in the game and like the war scenario and all of that. But the way that they presented females on the front line was not historically accurate.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, it didn't mesh well. If they had tried to do that and say it was like a fantasy setting, it would have been fine.
Battlefield 5 is the one I was thinking of, which is a Second World War game.
Right.
So they had literally the same thing. The two opposite, or they used to be opposite. They're kind of similar. Like Battlefield becomes more like Call of Duty, kind of every iteration.
A little bit, yeah.
Which is kind of like strange. Like you think if you have something different and you keep selling games, like Battlefield has never really struggled as a franchise, right? Like you'd think you just keep doing the Battlefield thing, but I'm wrong, I guess. So
that's what they changed it to. Okay.
To access and multiplayer, yeah. But yeah, so that was the whole thing with Call of Duty is that the way it was a good idea, poorly executed. Like, there are plenty of actual historic examples of women on the front lines during World War II. You could have done it with the French resistance. You could have done it with the Russians. I forget what they were called. They had a specific name. Morgan, you might know.
Or what now?
There was a battalion of Russian women in World War II who fought on the front lines. They had like a specific name.
Oh, I can't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Give me a second.
You fuckers all have Google. You can look it up.
Give me a sec. I should know this.
Oh. Engaging in any act that in Blizzard's sole discretion
Otherwise
brings you into
damages Blizzard's image will result in the removal from Grandmasters and reduction of the player's prize total to 0 USD.
That's such BS. It's Blizzard's sole discretion. It's like can be completely arbitrary, and they just put that in there so they can retract it when it.
Can we use that for the people who made Diablo Immortal for ruining Blizzard's reputation, and also remove all of their prize money, which is to say their salary?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When was that added, though? So I feel like that might be a newer edition. And their phone. You all have a phone, right?
Everybody's got phones.
Can't only because it's specific to the Grandmaster tournament. Yeah. But I guess my problem is that they've allowed them to do that before.
And the thing is, it's like a very one-sided view towards it. Like, it's so vague. Like, sole discretion brings you public disrepute. Like, that's completely subjective. Like, there's some people that are obviously it's a divisive issue.
The problem is that China makes Blizzard a lot of money because well, if you think about it, like there a lot of the like hackers and cheats come from China, so their accounts get banned and then they just buy it again. And
question: Do you know if they were called? Do you know if they were called the Night Witches?
Yes, I do believe so. That sounds right. Then. Yeah.
I thought it. I think they're supposed to be like. Let me see really quick.
So I remember their leader went up to the Tsar, was like, "Hey, I want to fight," and he was like, "Yeah, sure."
Okay, so a couple things. So Crepe brings up something which I think is really important because a similar thing happened in Fallout. Crepe says they changed it. Also, hi Crepe. They changed it to Axis because they would have had to change it for Germany anyway, so they just changed it for all. So Fallout actually did the same thing, Fallout 3, with one of their drugs, which was Jet, which was originally like, I don't know, some drug, like an actual real life drug.
Mm-hmm.
And then they had to change it for Australia, and they refused to release two different versions, one censored and one non-censored.
Right.
So they also changed that for all, and that's why Jet is Jet in Fallout 3. Or maybe it was Psycho. It might be Psycho, actually, because Jet might be canonical, actually.
I think it was... I think in regards to Blizzard, I think it has more to do with, like, the pace in which they responded. They were just so slow to respond to, like, criticism end of the situation to begin with, and then the way it was handled, it's like they're clearly just trying to protect market access versus actually adhere to any kind of like company ideal or
because Blizzard is following the steps of too many other gaming companies where it's all anti-consumer and just profit. I've seen them care less and less about the customer.
It's bottom line.
Hey, Eric, can I highlight what? No,
sure. Yeah.
I just want to highlight something Eric's saying right now, which I think is really good. People are planning on switching over to Riot now, but Tencent, the company they object to, owns all of Riot. Literally the whole thing. They bought it.
So 100% versus 10%.
It reminds me of what happened when Bethesda started doing like things that people didn't like as consumers. So people were like, oh, well, Obsidian's releasing a new game, The Outer Worlds, so we're going to jump on over to that. And then that became an Epic Store exclusive. And everyone's like, wait, no, shit.
Yep. Yes, they own 40% of Epic. And Tencent is also the company that made the social media grading system that China has. They're like you're like social media scoring.
Yeah, that's a wild. The whole like ecosystem of
whole
social
thing
media
is
there
insane
is very
because if your score isn't high enough, like you can fuck your entire life up. like one wrong
It's not
post
like
and it's
credit
just like
score,
you're
except, like,
you're done.
It's based on
Yeah,
your
but it's
social
like
media.
even worse.
It's all connected.
It's even worse because you can recover from a bad credit score, but
Yeah,
like
true.
this bad social media thing, like recovering from that, from what I've seen, is like infinitely harder. Because like people aren't supposed to talk to you if your social media score is like too low.
Hmm.
Like you're supposed to get like ostracized.
Yeah, this is the whole Blizzard thing is really
Terminator, Dark Fate. Oh yeah,
Really
Tencent
wild.
has their hands in like almost everything.
Yeah, basically also Reddit as well.
Oh yeah, they put millions. I think when I looked it up that one time on your stream, Rory, it was like something like $60 million worth of Reddit stocks. It's like
Fuck.
that's
Yeah.
gotta be a lot of it.
That's a lot of stocks.
And I honestly don't think I understand that like the Blizzard thing is a bit on the cut and dry side, because of like the exact statement that was made and the exact problem they had with it.
Right.
And I'm sure they haven't had similar problems with other things just because no company is really that consistent across long periods of time. But like, I also think that, so there's a thing with game developers and game publishers where the publisher always takes the blame for like bad things that happen with the game, but sometimes developers are bad too. And I think that maybe there are cases I think where Blizzard will where Tencent will take a blame in an Activision Blizzard scenario that's actually Activision Blizzard being shitheads.
Mm-hmm.
Like on all of their own accord, right? Like,
and you can also say the same thing with what happened to Destiny, because they paired with Activision.
that's right.
And Activision really pushed them to put the game out sooner than it ever should have been.
Yeah.
The same happened with Destiny 1 and Destiny 2, because Destiny 1 wasn't a good game until it had been out for a year.
Yeah, exactly.
And I guess you could say the same thing about Destiny 2, which is why it was kind of such a disappointment.
Mm.
And then, if memory serves, I remember reading something that I think Bungie was coming out with a whole separate game that's not Destiny anymore, and I think they were away from
They are.
I think they were away from Activision too.
I think their next game they're
Eric,
coming
I
out
didn't
with
know
is
that.
gonna be
Eric,
more
I didn't know that. Actually,
Also, fun fact: The Outer Worlds is on PC Game Pass, so like you can
right. You can
avoid Epic
it.
Games. Oh, cool.
Also, Zippy said
it was
MedX.
MedX. It was MedX that
morphine.
got changed.
Why would they not want morphine in like?
Yeah, because it's like, okay, so here's there's been a couple issues with Fallout in the past. So there's in Fallout 3 you can't kill children, and it's because the killing children would give the game an adults only rating, and you can't sell a game with an adults only rating. So
yeah,
and
actually,
they might have a similar thing. I think in Australia they have a similar thing.
There's
actually
right. There's only one game that comes.
Australia, I'm so sorry. There's a whole bunch of stuff actually in terms of Australia that they actually do a lot in terms of censoring in gaming.
Mm-hmm.
Big time, and not just in gaming, but in TV shows. There's even
know that.
Yeah, there's even stuff from Adventure Time that they actually censored.
Oh wow!
When it got to the Australian version. So in terms of Australia, they do a lot of censoring.
That sounds real strict.
When it comes to when it comes to certain things, for sure.
And
Anyways, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
To hit back on your adult rating of games, there's only one game that comes to memory that ever had an adult rating, and it only had it for 2 weeks, and I believe it was Grand Theft Auto 1 for the PS1.
Oh yeah.
Grand Theft Auto 5.
What was the reason for that?
So at the time, GTA was a top-down game, but it was also rather on the more violent side as far as games were. So you could kill anyone, you could commit crimes and hijack cars, you could go to a strip club, you could hire hookers, you could kill hookers. It kind of set a whole new precedent for mature games.
If I remember right, I think when it came to Grand Theft Auto 5, they had to dumb it down a little bit too, because at the point where it was going to be an adults only rating game, and like you guys said, they don't sell those on the PlayStation, Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of retail, also they don't sell any of those at any retail store.
Oh yeah, Eric
Right.
Taylor wasn't saying I think that there was no adults only games. He was saying in terms of games that like actually have like attention. There's a few adults only games, but they don't like we don't hear
Okay.
about
Right.
it.
It was
I actually see something really quick.
to my memory.
Yeah,
Is I know
that's the
that
only
it had
that's the
it-
only big one I think that
Yeah, it's the only big one that I know about off the top of my head, and it didn't have that adult rating for very long, if memory serves.
yeah, the
And I only know this because that is the first and last GTA game I've ever played on the PS1.
that's the first and last GTA. So you never played like Vice City on
Nope.
the PS2 or anything like that?
Never played it.
So like if you told me that you didn't play like GTA 5, that wouldn't surprise me because I know you don't like terrible business practices, and GTA 5 is like
A terrible
like,
business practice.
famously a money-making example of
Yeah.
like
Well, actually, no.
things you don't like.
I'm sorry. It's
So-
an excellent business practice because it makes money, but it's anti-consumer, so I don't like it in that.
I'm with you. Yeah.
So this is interesting. I actually looked up list of AO rated video games.
Mhm.
And you guys would probably be surprised at how short it is. I'm also kidding. It's obviously you guys wouldn't be surprised at that because you can't really sell games like these. There's not a lot of them, and I know Grand Theft Auto. Yeah, San Andreas was on here. Who said that?
Zippy. did.
Zippy.
Yeah, Zippy.
Which let me see here. Originally rated M, San Andreas was temporarily re-rated AO following the discovery of an incomplete hot coffee minigame that could be enabled with a mod or cheating device, which featured characters engaging in sexual intercourse. Its rating
that
was
was
changed back to M after Rockstar patched the game to remove that.
Right.
So-
There's also because the thing is like
Interesting.
there are games that definitely like out there in the world in like the void of the internet that would have adult only ratings, but the thing is no one rates those games. So
Right.
like to have an adult only rating, you have to be in a really specific intersection of the gaming world where you're mainstream enough to be rated, but also like ESRB.
Yeah, by the ESRB.
Yeah.
I was trying to see what
Oh, it
exactly.
does.
Know that, Eric.
So,
Yeah, Manhunt was on
Yes.
here. Manhunt 2 uncut PC version only.
Zippy, I agree with that entirely. It does. It that was the right move, and it does make them liable. And it's interesting how the ESRB came into existence.
Hmm.
So, like when games were first being made, like there wasn't a rating system. But like kind of everyone knew that like there's gonna have to be,
Mhm.
and I knew that if we didn't get ahead of it, that the government would make one sooner or later, and it was going to be shit.
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
So
naturally.
we kind of like gamers kind of like got together, was like, oh, we have the ESRB, and everyone just kind of like agreed to it. Like, yes, this is what we do.
So I'm still on this Wikipedia page. First game to receive that
Yes, Eric.
rating
Hmm.
is called The Joy of Sex, and it was on
wonder why.
CDI.
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 Ooh.
1993.
I go-
Gross.
Oh
Interesting.
my goodness.
Most of these games, honestly, almost all of them, I think, are for. It's because they had strong sexual content. That's what all of them are for.
So, Coden, so he's asking, isn't the ESRB also terrible? In the state it's in now, it's not great, but the way it started was good. It used to be a really good thing. But then there's the whole thing with in Hawaii where there was that senator, I think it was, that was trying to get loot boxes as done for to be categorized as a gambling, because they are. Let's be honest.
Yeah, you're spending money on something and don't know what you're getting out of it. Microtransactions
Right.
are like I'm not
Also-
a fan of them, but you can defend them. Like if you could at least say out and say, okay, look, here's our like revenue plan for micro.
Right.
Like they're not morally reprehensible. They're just shit.
Yeah.
Uh,
Also, unlike
Battle
with casinos, they don't, or they did, and I think in some cases they do now. They don't post the odds of what you can get and how likely you are to get it casinos, they're legally required to give you the odds.
Right, because they're recognized as gambling, so they have
Right.
to. Government has to regulate
like-
gambling. Like, you can't gamble at
Right.
an age. It's like-
And so I was really disappointed when I was watching the what was it, like, questioning between this Hawaiian senator and the ESRB reps, where they were just completely, where the ESRB was completely dodging the questions, didn't provide any actual answers. I think you can argue microtransactions are also morally reprehensible. I mean,
you could probably argue it. Yeah,
you could argue it, sure. I wouldn't necessarily call them morally reprehensible any more than like a scratch ticket is.
I think they're acceptable. I think it's an acceptable thing
But-
for consumers to put their foot down about and say, I'm not going to play this game because that has microtransactions. I've done the same thing myself.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I don't think that it should be allowable in games that someone under the age of 18 can buy, because you need to be at least 18 years old to buy a scratch ticket.
Yes.
See,
I
I,
think
like
that
the
would be-
idea.
Your main like foothold for a morally morally bad arguments.
And I do like the idea of how they're doing some loot boxes in certain games. Like in Overwatch, for example, it's pretty easy to get to the next level most of the time. Like if you're at least winning some games and stuff, but I do like that it's not the kind of RPG kind of EXP where, like, if you're really high level, you're almost never going to get a loot box because it's going to take you forever to get to the next level. They don't do it like that, because then that way, like, if you just want to get loot boxes,
supposedly it used to be that way. It used to be
Which
every
I'm glad that they don't do
increment
that
You
anymore.
went up, it was like higher and higher
Yeah.
and higher. But now they fixed it where it's a fixed amount.
yeah, and I like that they do that, because that at least makes it, because if you want to buy the loot boxes, you do have that option at least. But at least that way, you're not having to spend money just because you want a loot box, because it's taking so long to get to that next level. So I do like when they do stuff like that, because that way, like for me, for example, I will never spend a penny on a loot box. I will just spend the in-game currency that I earn through the loot boxes, and then
Right.
I earn loot boxes through just playing the game. I'm okay with that.
And
But
that's fine.
yeah, when it gets to the point where it's like you really need to start spending money in order, and not to mention all of them are also cosmetic. Everything in the game is
Right.
cosmetic,
Right.
which is also something that I like.
I would prefer if there are loot boxes for the stuff to be cosmetic.
Mhm.
Second, you can like pay to win is where I'm just like,
Yeah, that
Oh,
kind of
So
stuff I draw the line
Battlefront
at.
2. Battlefront 2 is the prime
Right.
example of where
Right.
they went wrong.
I
Yeah,
think
that
that's
I
literally
know, yeah.
unacceptable. Yeah, because you have
Yes,
no respect for your game anymore. It's not.
and then like, and it's interesting too, because I will see people argue in favor of loot boxes and the pay to win formula, because they're like, oh well, I'm an adult and I have a full-time job now, and I don't have the time to be grinding all this shit. I just should be able to, spend my hard-earned money to get what I want and play how I want. It's like,
Tough shit. Quit your job.
Yeah.
or
I'm not gonna lie, I almost bought, like, this morning, I sat and, like, seriously thought about buying the operators from Siege, because I'm like, this is gonna take me freaking forever to get all these operators.
That's at least acceptable because the operators are still balanced. That's still. I wouldn't call that pay to win. Actually, is it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's-
it's more
you
pay to
need
have more
them.
fun. And well, the thing is, like, not playing the operators actually is to my disadvantage, because I don't know exactly
Yes, because then you don't know what they do. and, like,
their
how
tools,
it
their
works.
skills,
That's
how they
why-
work.
yeah,
so
that's
I'm
totally
at a
acceptable.
severe disadvantage because I don't understand how
I
the
was-
operators work.
Yeah, that's like buying a character
says don't do
DLC
it.
in a fighting game.
I know. I'm trying to
know
be
what I mean?
strong, Eric. I'm trying to be
Same
strong.
thing.
But I literally almost dropped $20 today because I'm like, I'm sick of not having.
Yeah,
cash
League has
flow.
the same thing where you can like buy the.
Yeah, in like League or in
Play the
Dota
game
2,
for 1
where
year,
you buy one of
for one.
the new season character.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever.
Yeah, I think that's totally
which-
kosher. Actually.
Okay, fair, fine. Because the part that I have a problem with is that having it put you at a disadvantage for not doing it is kind of shit. Because that
that part of it is bad. Yeah.
that runs akin to someone buying a whole bunch of loot boxes, getting this fucking super awesome uber mega gun that is just better than all the fucking rest, and then they're better because they did it, and everyone else is worse because they
If
did
there
it.
was like a practice range option, sort of like what Overwatch has, where you could try out an operator, not like not in a match or something, or you can just at least like practice with it, that would be helpful. But it's like
'cause,
not even having
Siege
access
is
to
kind
it
of
is
on that point
really
where it's
annoying.
like you either need to do it, or like if you do it, once you do it, there's no going back and like get refunded
Right.
your
Right.
down.
That's the other thing, is the like no refund policies on a lot of this stuff is also kind of shit.
Yes.
Yeah,
So-
no duplicate ones I always really like too, because it's so disheartening when like you finally
Yeah.
earn another loot box and then you just get a bunch of stuff that you already have.
Yeah, that's also just like I don't.
And see,
But-
Beast
but-
brings up a great point because he said Paladins has his best or his favorite loot box system ever because it's once you get something, you can't ever get it again. So there's literally no
exactly.
chance of you ever getting a duplicate.
Hmm.
So there's no
And that's
need
fine.
to spend extra on like shit that you're trying
Right.
to get at a random chance.
We need to play
Right.
Paladins again. Next time I do
We will,
that,
we
though,
will.
I need to
You gotta
remap.
rebind.
Rebind. Yeah.
That's the
God.
first thing I did. I was like, all right, I'm not gonna get fucked up like Morgan was and switch back
Yep.
and forth.
That.
Like,
Yeah.
whoa.
That's.
God,
and that's fine. And but like he also says when he has 17,000 of some gold thing in Overwatch, like
Mhm.
why? I don't need that.
Mhm.
That's completely ridiculous. See, it's doing microtransactions, right? They need to be cosmetic only, or
Also-
something gameplay related. All it needs to be.
If you're single
balanced.
player, you have no need to have microtransactions. You have no servers to keep going. Fuck
Yes.
out of here, please.
Like what is
yeah.
it? Shadow of Mordor? I think that had microtransactions.
Shadow of
Shadow-
And
Oh,
I was
yeah.
like,
Shadow
this
of
has
Mordor.
Yeah,
no
you're right.
reason to have
God.
microtransactions.
No, that was not needed at all.
Yeah, that was an actual tragedy. Because, like, with at least with a live service game, you can say, "Hey, we're still funding this, so to keep our development costs, we need continuing income." But like Shadow of War, you just sell it and then you forget it exists.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, and then we all forget it exists, as it turns out with Shadow of War. But that wasn't the intention.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like if they're gonna do a microtransaction, if it's something that you can pay physical, actual, real world money for, then it should only be cosmetic. Because you know what, I don't really have a problem with that at all.
Nothing
I mean,
to give anything of any sort of advantage.
Yeah.
And then you're
Mhm.
because like, okay, so you want to look real cool while you're playing your game, whatever, as long as
That's
it's not
fine.
making you play better. I mean, if it makes you feel like you're playing better, I guess maybe that's
Yeah,
okay.
like,
Mhm.
it doesn't
Um,
but
Especially
Yeah.
free to play games, I think that's totally acceptable because they got to make the money somehow. You know what I
Exactly.
mean?
Right.
Yeah.
They need some kind of income to make that.
Isn't that what Fortnite does though? They don't charge you anything.
Fortnite
for the
and
game, and then
Apex,
it's like
yeah.
they just let you
Epic-
buy the skins and stuff.
Epic
Basically.
Games may have done a bunch of stuff I don't like, and I don't play Fortnite or like it. But like
If only
I'm,
Zeus was
I
here.
think it's I think Fortnite in terms of like game industry practice and like demonstration of like high quality development is a net good thing.
Hi,
Like-
Harry.
That thing runs
Hi, Ari.
supremely well.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in comparison to other battle royale games, which
Yeah, like
tend to run
PUBG.
like shit. PUBG runs at like 8 frames a second on its best day on the Xbox. Like it's actually hilarious.
And they put that game on mobile too.
It's
Yeah,
an absolute
exactly.
clusterfuck. That game is a fucking dumpster fire.
Also, hey Ari, how are you?
Hi, Ari.
Wait, hold on.
Fucking battle royale games.
Well, what's called?
Is Dauntless? Is Dauntless the one that's like
Dauntless
Fortnite
is Monster
meets
Hunter with
Monster Hunter
Fortnite
World?
graphics.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay, right.
I actually played that at PAX last year. It wasn't bad, actually.
Well, what's
TF
called? Like,
players.
I could. We've all played Monster Hunter here at some point in time.
Right.
If they had a system where it was just like, oh, buy this and get a random assortment of monster parts, like, why would you do that when the core of the game is based around that?
It ruins the gameplay loop. That's kind of the issue. This is gonna sound strange and unrelated, but I promise it isn't. Like Saints Row, if you've ever played any of the Saints Row games, is a lot of it is driving, right? And then
Right.
in the fourth game, they give you superpowers so you can
Right.
move faster than any car, and it's like this game is fucked now because like the whole
Like,
like
why
I
am I
really
driving,
enjoyed
then?
driving,
Yeah.
but like why would I drive? And like a lot of people had the same complaint about Arkham Knight It's like it's fun to
Yes.
move around as Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now
This is why I give Bleeze so much shit, because Arkham Knight went from like being the Arkham series up here to like.
Sugar M6 Fire.
The Spin It S follow up.
Yeah.
The PC port was terrible, Eric. I don't know who you're trying to kid.
I liked Arkham Knight actually.
Arkham Knight was not an
I-
awful game by any means.
I mean,
the PC port was dog shit.
I
but-
enjoyed it at first, but after like I went back to platinum it, I was just like I don't know.
Oh,
why I thought
no,
this was
Eric.
good.
Oh no.
No.
So not only did it almost burn down, the snakes almost escaped. Is that what that means?
Yeah, but usually they're not selling poisonous snakes, so they're refined.
Danger
Yeah,
noodles.
Arkham Knight as a
that what those are?
game is actually
Yeah,
pretty
Danger.
good. Like, I do think that the that mechanic though, the driving thing, is a
So,
real.
What
threat.
they could have made better for Arkham Knight was instead of
Oh,
making
watch out,
you,
Eric.
Watch out! Watch your back.
instead of making you have to use the Batmobile, it could have been an option for like you can do it this way or you can do it with Batman, as opposed to forcing you down the road of you need to use our Batmobile.
Forcing you down the road. Yeah.
I
Literally.
be
still,
honest.
I still love Asylum. It's still my favorite.
I have played none of the Arkham games.
You've watched them though, right? Did you watch Travis play them?
No.
Oh, okay. Travis.
I
Travis
probably
Casual.
didn't mind it. I probably didn't mind it and really enjoyed Arkham Knight because I never played the other two.
That's
That was
probably why.
that.
I feel like it's
Yeah, so
'cause
to me, I didn't know the
I've
difference.
I came from Asylum and City, which were phenomenal games, and then
Well,
Mighty Ass.
Arkham Origins is actually
It looks
pretty
nicer.
underrated as like a
They're
Batman.
still solid. The Ass
Ah.
remaster.
I thought about going back and playing.
I
those
really
other two.
wanted to play Origins, but like it wasn't part of any bundle that included the other two because it's a different.
Yeah, it's not
company.
part of the same bundle,
Yeah,
and it
'cause
drives
it's
me
Montreal,
insane.
and I'm like,
But it's cool. It's definitely different, right? But like sometimes different is good. Like BioShock Infinite is nothing like the other two BioShock games, but it's cool in its own right. You can borrow.
Eric,
No,
I
he doesn't
just-
need to borrow your Steam account. Just turn on Family Share with Trev.
I just
and
want to
then you
know what Ass remaster is.
So the remaster for Arkham Knight is, I think it's called Return to Arkham. It took the PS3 versions and upgraded them to PS4 and.
Yeah, that's not
Xbox
Tater's
One.
question. Tater's wondering what the sentence means. Tater's wondering like what.
Yeah.
No, I'm
like-
explaining it because he said as remastered, and because the transition from the graphics, it looked like it worsened upgrading it to the new gen than it was on the old gen.
So it's just
Oh,
it's
okay.
literally an ass
So,
remix.
alright.
Remaster.
It looked
so
better on
the
PS3 than it did
remaster
on PS4.
Is Ass.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
thank you.
It
Thank
put the ass in remaster.
you. Yes, Morgan, that is perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Well done, Morgan.
Yes.
Punt science.
Okay, that makes way more sense now. All right.
Can we talk about the Niantic thing, please?
Niantic. Okay.
Oh
Yes.
yes.
So, interesting
Let me-
company.
Oh
Yeah,
wait,
let
hold up. Before I do, Eric has a question. But yeah,
I'll
Eric's
put-
a
I'll
family
post the
shares a setting
article.
It's
where
kind
you
of like
can
game
like
share, I
share your
assume.
Steam library with
Yeah.
other people. And so the caveat is that like if I share Tekken 7 with Trev, we cannot play Tekken 7 at the same time,
Right.
right?
Oh.
It's like
Mhm.
like
But you know that kind of makes sense because like if you had a physical copy of this game and I let Rory play it, I can't
Yeah,
also
you
play
both
it.
can't also play it.
Like,
Yeah, yeah,
it's like when you
literally.
have too many
So-
people using the same Netflix account. Just can't do it.
Hey, before we get into Niantic, I gotta use the restroom really quick. So
Yeah,
Oh,
okay,
yeah,
yeah.
no
We'll just
I'll
talk
be
about
right
some nonsense while you're on.
yeah.
Yeah.
Nonsense.
All right, so for
Uh,
those of you
now-
here for the Arby's segment, this is when we're transitioned to Arby's.
Oh yeah, exactly, yeah.
And one, who the fuck eats there? I've seen nobody eat there.
Literally, we have like I was saying when I moved
But
here,
they
like
have the meats.
London
That's what they
is London is the place for like
For Arby's?
no, not for Arby's,
okay, I
Jesus
was
Christ. Where like American businesses pilot for Canada, so we get like America stuff. That's like they're like, oh, I wonder how this is gonna work in Canada. So we do have an Arby's, but like I look at it, there's something about Arby's that like nothing on the menu looks very appetizing.
I don't think anything is.
And I don't know if I'm alone in that. It's just like when I look at it, it's like I don't want to eat that. Like, why would I want to eat that? Like, you could have taken 1,000 pictures and picked the best one and used Photoshop to make this look like something I'd want to put in my mouth, and you fucked it up. Like,
What is Rory not putting into his mouth?
Arby's.
Arby's.
He's very passionate about this.
What's wrong with Arby's? Arby's is delicious.
No, I'm not saying it's not delicious. I'm saying that they've never in their life taken a photography class where they know how to make a sandwich look good. If I see a picture of a hot dog, I want to eat that, and I don't even know what's in that.
Okay,
right?
okay.
Like,
Have you
probably
seen the how it's
something-
made video
Arby's
for hot dogs?
photos.
Because that's pretty.
I have.
That's pretty bad.
I actually, so I watched the how it's made videos for hot dogs and chicken nuggets while eating those perspective products.
How did that go?
The chicken nuggets one, I actually laughed at, and like everyone thought I was a terrible person.
Oh gosh, they have Meattoberfest right now. That's the big campaign.
Hey, all right, I'll
Okay.
bite. I'll bite their beast. Arby's has a veal sandwich. Let me ask you a question: how much does veal cost if you were to go out and buy it, and how much does that Arby's sandwich cost? And then tell me that
ain't
the Arby's
veal.
veal sandwich is a good idea.
That's a
Oh
fair
my
point,
God.
Rory. That is a fair
That
point.
I don't shove hot dogs. Oh god. They have a
Man,
veal
wow,
sandwich.
that's great. Rory got on that like so
Actually, I'm
quick.
gonna see.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see if there's literally anything I can eat at Arby's. I'm gonna Google this right now.
Okay, while you're doing that, Rory.
I feel like
my
Rory
aunt-
had this saved. For this, like,
Oh wait, no, I'm
particular
gonna come
reason.
back with Niantic. Forget Arby's.
Forget Arby's.
Oh my god.
Okay, so we did that.
Oh, yeah,
and,
so
is
the-
this-
Oh wait, let me
Niantic thing.
repost the article because I think it got.
Oh, yeah.
Is this trying to say that they're like breaking a privacy agreement?
No,
or
So this is a
something?
really
Well-
long article, but
Yeah.
Well, as
So
someone who used to
basically-
play it, I understand like the concern, but I don't know what this is.
So basically, what they're saying is, a lot of times, if you're using Pokemon Go or Wizards Unite, that you're obviously we know our data's
Or,
been tracked
or,
all over the place.
Yes.
Ingress.
that's
Um,
also how it works. Like, it's got to track your data if it wants to be Pokemon
Right.
Go.
Right, but so it's not really the tracking of the data; it's the storing.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
yeah.
Like, okay, so I understand that this game works off of GPS and physical locations because they started with their first game, Ingress, and then Pokemon Go was pretty much a copy and pasta of that with a different skin. Totally fine, because they work fairly differently, but the Pokestops were the same, like gates or whatever that they had in Ingress, so they didn't have to like recode that. Totally fine, but it's the fact that they're storing it that it becomes a problem.
And I think they.
So,
I
like,
mean, most companies aren't very upfront about what's being done with that data anyway. So,
okay,
like, if it's being
here-
sold or if it's being shared.
Here's my issue. Like, the equipment I fix in the army deals with like data collection, right?
Yeah.
We have certain rules that we have to follow for this.
Mhm.
Like, according to Executive Order 12333, signed by Obama, we can't collect on U.S. persons without a permit.
Mm.
And I'm pretty sure it also prevents us from collecting on Canadian persons as well without a permit.
Sure.
They're clearly outside the bounds of this because they don't fall under the executive branch of the U.S. government.
Yeah.
But they're collecting on U.S. persons without like a court order. Like, this is stuff that can be used against said person for whatever reason, and I'm really sure that that's illegal.
Yeah, I don't actually know that specifically because obviously legality is something I know literally nothing about.
If only Tiff were here.
Yeah, true story.
Well, obviously, like, we're in the age where we're comfortable with our data being collected because it's like obviously it's always been like that's the
Okay.
thing. Even everybody's.
Hold up. I wouldn't say comfortable. Forced to accept that it is because that's inevitable. Yes.
Yeah, think
We're
that
comfortable. I mean, we're just comfortable. I mean, how many of us use GPS like every time we go out anywhere? Do you know what I mean? Like it's become such a an integrated part of our lives where we're giving that information away a lot of times without even
It's
thinking.
kind of like
the choice
terms
was
and conditions
behind
that no one
stuff,
reads,
behind
and you
convenience.
stick it.
It wasn't, do you want your data collected or not? It was, do you want this cool new thing we have to offer you, or are you going to be like a hermit? Like that was
then,
like the way it was like.
They might.
I would be too, Eric.
They may or may not bury the fact that they're collecting this stuff in like their TOS. And let's be real. Who the fuck reads your
accept it and
exactly.
move on.
Yeah. It's like, have you read this? Sure, yeah.
Sure, yeah,
All right.
definitely. Check, done. No one fucking reads it, which, admittedly, is probably part of the problem. We should be reading it, but at the same time, a lot of these different things in our current culture, we can't really live without.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. And I think Niantic is probably one of the lesser offenders of it, actually.
Right, they're definitely probably. Well, we don't know how far that this bunny hole goes.
True, but Niantic does not have an ecosystem with which to like pass around, like not as much as Google does, right?
Right.
Yeah,
It's
Google has a
not-
much
right.
wider like.
Well, but Google is also a monopoly.
Yes, that's true.
They.
I would say, yeah. I don't know if Google counts legally as a monopoly because monopolies need to actively discourage competition as opposed to just like being better than being more popular than the competition.
It's not that they're more popular; it's that they own the majority of the market.
Yes, but monopolies have to have active discouragement under the law, I believe, which is why Steam wasn't a monopoly for. Like when
Right.
it was like doing PC.
Well, that's because they were the only thing, but they weren't discouraging other people from
Yes, they
doing
weren't
it.
discouraging other. No, you could say Google is discouraging other people. You could probably make that case.
Well,
Yeah.
you definitely could because it makes it a lot harder for startups to even happen. Like
Yes, exactly.
for a startup to even get on its feet, you have to look at the tech giant that is Google, the tech giant that is Samsung. And it's just like, well, fuck, how am I supposed to even compete with that? I'm a nobody. And then the same thing can be said for, like, entertainment. Disney owns, like, 60% of all entertainment.
Yes, especially after that big merger. Like,
Now
now
they merged with
even more. They bought out
Yeah.
Fox. They bought out.
Fox, Marvel, and all this other shit. It's just like they own too much, even though they're not like actively saying you can't be in entertainment. Owning that much of the entertainment industry, I believe, pretty sure still counts as a monopoly and should be broken up.
Well, because actually owning so much can count as discouraging competition if the way you own it is by just like throwing money at other people to take
Yes.
them. I think that actually is considered
Well, that's-
active discouragement.
Technically, that is 100% what a Disney did. I can't say the same thing for Google. I just know that they're outrageously huge.
They're outrageously huge. Also, a lot of these companies. Yeah, no, fire away, Tater.
Oh, it's also in the fact that I know that they bought YouTube a long time ago.
Ages, yeah.
And for a long time, YouTube was pretty much like the platform until like
exactly.
it came out, and like YouTube's only like real competitors are like Pornhub.
Also a lot of these companies. Fun fact: one of the things that I know about, especially from my old job, was that a lot of these companies are really pouring a lot of resources into AI. And actually, the winner of the StarCraft AI tournament last year, which was the tournament that was actually run out of my lab, was Samsung. Like Samsung won the StarCraft AI tournament, not like a guy right in his basement writing StarCraft AI code. And trust me, Samsung's not looking into StarCraft AI so they can improve their ELO.
No.
Like there's there's something else going on there.
Yeah, no, that's a whole other field of issues.
Grape,
Yeah,
Grape has a good
and that
point,
kind of
too,
stuff.
Yeah.
Disney had
they
to
go through courts
go
in
through
order
the
to-
courts to buy Fox.
Yeah,
because
exactly,
they had to
yeah.
decide whether that would. And
Honestly,
the
you can
fact
write
that they
the
did it, though, I think is bullshit. Sorry.
Honestly, With what Ari and like Beast are saying, like you can like the content and still not be happy with the company. I'm like that with Nintendo a lot of the times, to be honest. I love their games. Their games are always really fun and really nice, but in terms of the way that they sell their games, like the Nintendo Switch has not gone down in price in the 3 years that it has been out. It's never gone on sale. The only time that their Nintendo IP games go on sale usually is only on their I think it's usually only on the eShop, which they get all of the money from. Or maybe they go down $5-10 at like Walmart or something.
Oh yeah, me and
is-
Bethesda break up 10 times a day. You know what I
That
mean?
is,
Like,
but that right there is Nintendo in a nutshell, because Nintendo games don't depreciate.
See, that's the thing.
And they should.
Nintendo knows that their games are fun and that
Yeah.
people really love them. Like,
Yeah.
how many times have I said on here probably that if they re-released like Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door, like re-released it on the Nintendo Switch for $60, I would buy it.
Yeah,
You know?
and they know that.
Mario Kart, like I see people all the time. Like it's funny at the store that I work at, because they will like people will come in and be like, hey, do you guys have Mario Kart pre-owned? And I'm like, no. They're like, why? What do you mean you don't have it pre-owned? Like, people sell their games back all the time. I'm like, people like Mario Kart, they're gonna buy it and they're gonna
like,
keep it.
People don't really sell back their Nintendo games.
No, and there's a reason why, like at GameStop, why when people do that, especially for like Switch games, why they sell for so much. And okay, so I had somebody one time, and this was a Wii game, guys, a Wii,
Like the original one?
original Wii game.
Damn.
And I believe this was the silliest thing ever. So a guy comes up to me. He has a couple of Wii games. And when it comes to Nintendo IPs, that's what I'm getting at here. It's not just Nintendo Switch games, or Nintendo Wii games. It's Nintendo IPs. Because there are games even on the Nintendo Switch that are like $10 now. But that doesn't mean they're a Nintendo IP. And
It's a little bit different.
there was, I think it was Mario Party 9. And bear with me for 1 second. When did Mario Party 9 come out?
A while ago. Because aren't
It
they
was
up to like?
definitely 2012.
I
Yeah.
remember
2012.
8 was the original one.
So actually, let me do one more thing here. That came out in 2012. And it is $54.99 pre-owned at GameStop.
Well, Eric just said that Xenoblade Chronicles is still like $80 pre-owned.
Yeah, Fire Emblem
Yeah,
Radiant
which is,
Dawn
like-
is like $70.
And don't get me wrong, I love Xenoblade Chronicles. I love Fire Emblem.
Me too.
I would not pay the original price for them right now.
No, for older games like that, that's where it gets kind of annoying. When
It's like-
games are remastered, like I said, I just said that
Okay.
I would buy
Like
Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door again, but
a remaster, sure, fine. Whatever. A new game, okay, sure, fine. But man, that game's been out since fucking what, 2012? No.
so yeah, so let's say what I
Get
was saying.
real.
Mario Party 9 came out
Isn't that what Skyrim did?
2012.
Multiple times.
They did a
do that
remaster.
all the time. Yikes.
I will say though, there was I don't know if it's still going on now because it's been at least a couple years now. There was a point in time where on the Nintendo store you could go onto your DS and get like Pokemon Yellow, Red, and Blue for like $10, which I thought was the coolest thing ever. I was so like ecstatic.
You're thinking of on the Nintendo 3DS, right? Because they still do that. It's called the Virtual Console. And that's one thing that's really been
Right.
bothering me in terms of Nintendo Switch, because the Nintendo Online thing that they have, I don't consider a virtual console. That's not what I consider that as. But Virtual Console basically was older games being re-released for not that much money on their system digitally. So like I
Right.
have the original Paper Mario on my Wii U. I got it for $10.
Right.
And it's just on my Wii U, which is super cool, and I
Yeah.
can just play that whenever I want to. It was originally a game that came out in the 90s for the N64.
Yeah.
And I really like that they do stuff like that, and they've completely refrained from doing that for some reason on Nintendo. But anyways, but this guy came in. He went to grab some Wii games. A bunch of them were very low price, like $2.99.
Right.
He comes up to me with Mario Party 9 and goes, "This has got to be the wrong price." And I looked at it and I was like, "No." He goes, "What? How? This came out years ago." And I was like, "Dude, it's a Nintendo IP.
Like they don't go down in value, and it's bullshit.
They never go down unless they re-release the game
This is
later."
the one time I'm just like, I'm glad I don't know.
Yeah,
anything
'cause,
Nintendo, and I'm never going to.
Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess on the Wii was a lot of money at GameStop for a good while. And then they re-released it on the Wii U, and then
you saw
suddenly the price
price.
went
Yep.
down for the Wii one.
Yep, that's the only time that you're gonna see the price drop.
Yes. And that's the thing with Nintendo. And the thing with them is that they know they can do it. They know they can because everybody likes
They
their
can get away with
games.
it.
They're
Yep.
fun, interesting concepts of different games.
What?
And most people just
Yeah.
really
That-
like to play them. They're
that,
good
Morgan,
single-player games.
I will say is probably the one and the probably the one of the only things I don't like about their company.
That's the thing with me. I've gotten really upset with them about stuff lately because, and I'm not saying that it's good to emulate games, because obviously,
I do that shit all the time.
nice.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's not always good, and I definitely support, or I think that it's generally a good idea to support game devs
Exactly. That's why.
and whatnot.
That's why I
but,
like Virtual Console because of that.
but sometimes devs and whatnot are just a little bit fucking ridiculous, and be like, all right, look, if you're gonna be like that, I'm just gonna frickin' get an emulator,
see,
man, because
this is the thing.
Like,
So Nintendo a while ago, there was an emulating company. I can't really say they were a company, but it was an emulating website basically that was in the business of doing Nintendo-based emulating. And a lot of people really liked them because there were a lot of games that were either extremely expensive to get originally,
or extremely hard to get.
Just at GameStop, guys, I think Conker's Bad Fur Day is $99 for the N64.
N64.
version.
Oh my god! You know what? I would be tempted.
Hey, if you're ever tempted, let me just say this: get an old Xbox One and get Rare Replay. It's on there.
Yeah, I
Rare
know,
Replay
but
is, like,
I don't want to get
$9.
Xbox One, and I don't want to
I get it.
get Rare Replay.
So you might be able to get that. I don't know if you can get that on PC.
Oh,
That's something I'd
gotta
actually like to have on
refresh.
PC. Anyways, so
Conker's Bad Fur Day was the shit.
or just get an original Xbox. Yeah.
Right.
Get the remake of it, the Live and Reloaded. Anyways, but so basically what was going on with this is that this emulating website got in absolutely huge trouble with Nintendo. They took them to court.
Absolutely.
Obviously,
Yeah.
Nintendo won.
Yeah.
And it was really bad, and a lot of people were kind of like getting kind of
They were
angry
upset.
at
Yep.
Nintendo about it for good reason because it literally went like this. It was like, okay, Nintendo, so can you re-release these games, these old games that everybody really loves and cherishes? No, we're not going to do that. Okay, can you do something about the skyrocketing prices of the what are they called? Of the scalpers that take these games, resell them for a super, super high price, because you're not even getting any money for that. Can you do something about that? No, we're not going to do that either. Okay, then I'm just going to download this game for free somewhere or pay somebody a small fee to download this game on my PC. Nope, you're not going to do that. Nope, I don't think so.
Yeah.
And
Like,
that's
well, you can't
where it
really
gets
stop.
me.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's where it gets me because
Also, one of the other things that Nintendo has been notorious for in the past is fucking around with people who make parodies. They are like so anti-parody on like YouTube and whatnot. They have issued more like cease and desist and like there's a
They were in the
special
news for that a while
form.
ago. They're like gonna
There's
demonetize
a special
everything.
like a copyright
they
form
just
or
stopped doing
whatever
that.
that they have to issue to YouTube to be like, you need to have them take that video down now.
Mhm.
And YouTube doesn't really have a lot of like legal power to tell people who correctly issue said form no. So YouTube kind of like has their hand side there that they have to. The fact that Nintendo is so like vehemently against people making parodies using their stuff is kind of like ridiculous. Like, it's a parody, it's fun. You're supposed to be about having fun. Especially as like a game company that mostly makes rated E games. Like,
Mm-hmm. See, that is supposed to be the whole point about Nintendo, and that's why it kind of gets me sometimes. Their games are extremely expensive, and they rarely put them on sale except for like around huge holiday times, for example.
yeah, like, you know,
And
Christmas
even then,
time
they're
and all that. And
yeah.
it's not.
I'd
It's
assume
not a
only
big
Christmas
sale
and
either.
Black Friday. And
It's like
Pretty
a
much.
10% sale, and
barely even.
yeah,
Legend
like,
of Zelda Breath of the Wild
And-
was out for 2 years before it actually went down in price.
Mhm.
And that was
it-
only by $15, then it went back up.
it's so shitty because the majority of the people playing those games are kids, and you know, those kids really can't afford it. So now you're making parents pay hand over fist for that shit.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's
then-
the thing. Nintendo games are fun. They're kid friendly,
Yep.
and
They're
they're single player, which means that they don't have to deal with
they're
any
a
of the online
safe-
people.
Nintendo games are a safe bet for parents who don't know a lot about gaming.
Anytime I tell a parent comes in to my store and they're trying to figure out what system to get for their like 13-year-olds and under, because they usually come in, they're like, oh, what,
Nintendo.
like PlayStation, Xbox. I'm like, listen, if like, how are you with rated T and rated M games? I don't want them playing those games. Then I really suggest you get them a Nintendo system.
I was
Right.
actually shocked when Bayonetta became a Nintendo thing.
I was
of
too.
all
I was like,
games.
that-
I was like, whoa.
I was like, whoa.
that'd be like putting
Bayonetta?
like DMC
Really?
on Nintendo. It's like, what?
I mean, I was
Yeah.
thrilled because that means Bayonetta can continue, like,
Well,
to
they
release
put
awesome games. but
Resident Evil on the original Wii.
the
Oh, yeah, they
the
did.
original
That's
Wii, is that
true.
true? I never
Yeah.
knew that.
Yep.
Resident
there
Evil
was a,
4
that's
is on
funny.
there. There's a
They had
couple of
COD
different
on
ones,
there
but I don't
too.
think
They had
Resident
COD Zombies. They had
COD is.
Yeah, so there were definitely a couple of games that I was always surprised to be like, that's on Nintendo?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
See, and that's the thing that they're trying to do now too, because they like being able to be that family friendly console, because they know that they are, and they know that
Well,
they
that
will
is their market. That is their market. They are the family friendly console.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, with parents who are getting their kids games. But now, when it comes to the Nintendo Switch, they know that there's so many bigger gamers out there. That's why they're trying to. That was the thing that they missed out on with the Wii U. They didn't do a lot of third-party games.
Right.
And now they have like The Witcher, Skyrim,
Yeah.
two
And they're
games that I
doing
know
more
for
and more
sure.
of that. Yeah.
Those are two games that I know for
Although-
sure. I've talked to. Actually, I just got a customer the other day at my store that said, "Yeah, I'm only buying The Witcher for the Switch so I can take it places with me." And I've had people say that
You know,
about Skyrim.
that makes
also.
sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Mhm.
Yeah.
My thing though is with parents, and especially with like our generation's parents. Well, I would say more so with our generation's parents is just how ignorant they are of games and how they work. So like, I don't know how many times I've had to explain how the ESRB rating system works, and it's so easy to just compare it to like movie ratings. Rated E games are rated G movie. Rated T games PG-13. Rated T game rated T games are rated PG-13. Rated M games rated R. And like for some reason, parents have the hardest time making that like
Connection.
correlation. Yeah. It's like, it's not that hard, guys. It's like, well, if I knew it was the same as a rated R movie, I would have little Timmy freaking this game here. I would have never got him Halo.
Right.
like-
yeah.
Guys.
The thing with that sometimes too
Do
is
some
that
research.
kids will. Ooh, that's the thing, actually. What you just said, parents need to do research. Because when it came to Deadpool, I know that there were a lot of people that were complaining and saying like, "Oh my god, I had to take my kid out of the theater because the movie in the first 5 minutes was too raunchy for my kids." And I was like, "Why did you take your kid to a rated R movie?"
Yeah, like,
Like,
why
it's
did you let them
Marvel.
see
It
a
may
rated
be
R
Marvel,
movie?
but it says
Like-
rated R. Like,
Like, come on.
I've definitely had
Okay,
some.
But Ari, you're at the point now where you're already an adult. All right, I remember back in the day when the GameStop first opened in my not my hometown, but my neighboring town that was very, very close. When I wanted to get Halo originally, my mother got carded to make sure that she was over the age of 17. My mom.
I have had, and the reason why, like, I definitely think that parents need to be doing more research into video games because, like we just said, there are so many parents that are like, I would never let my kid watch this, like TV-13 TV show. I would never let my kids. I wouldn't let my kids watch a PG-13 or a rated R movie at their age. And I always think, why are you letting these kids play rated M games then? And a lot of the time, from my experience, I've had parents that just don't know.
Don't know. They don't know.
They either don't know, or this is the best one that I've had. I had a parent come in one time, a mother, that kind of knew what the ESRB rating was, and they were getting
Hello.
Hi there.
Hi.
How are you?
They were getting Grand Theft Auto 5. It was hilarious because what the and this now what I'm about to say, they actually have done this in older games. They don't really do this much anymore because now rated M is just rated M.
Right.
If it's going to be rated M, there's no reason to dumb things down or make a mode where things are dumbed down because it's rated M for a reason. And I had a parent, and like I said, this happened, I think, in a couple of older Call of Duty games where you could turn off violent, like gore and language.
Yes,
this
that
parent
is a
came
thing,
in with her two boys. Oldest one was probably 13. And they were getting Grand Theft Auto 5. And I always go on this big spiel whenever I see a parent with kids buying like our really rated M games. I was like, hey, just so you know, this game has a lot of sexual content and violence, blood and gore, and drugs and alcohol references. Are you okay with that? And I had this poor mother that just looks at her kids, and goes, can you turn off the bad things like you can in your Call of Duty games? And they immediately said yes. Like, yep, you can do that. And I looked right at the mom and I went,
no, you can't.
no, you can't. And these kids look like they wanted to kill me. Like, if looks could kill, I would not be here.
These kids had a whole system.
They were playing their mother like a fucking fiddle because she didn't want to do actual
You can
research.
turn all the stuff down.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, you cannot do that in Grand Theft Auto 5. And the Call of Duty could have done that, but not in Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
She did end up getting it for them because
when fuck your warning.
Well,
just like...
she actually. This is the thing that gets me kind of upset with parents, though, when it comes to this stuff, because usually they're like, it's just a video game. And these kids got really mad. They're like, this kid started stomping, and she's like, okay, we're gonna get it. We'll get it. Fine,
white.
it's okay. Oh.
Kids need their dopamine, man.
Dude, okay, so I got a couple of things with that. One, the kid was obviously lying to their parent, should have never gotten the game.
Both of the kids were.
Two, they threw a fucking 2-year-old temper tantrum at the age of 13. They should have been fucking disciplined, not rewarded with a game. 3, this mother doesn't actually fucking care.
Yeah, no, that was just a thing that shut them up from rioting.
What?
They did still buy it, Zippy. Yeah. After the kids had a temper tantrum in the store.
Such Korean, much.
For the thing with me is, if I were a parent, I would not let my kids get to that point anyways, because I would. Knowing me with video games, I would already know. So there's no way my kid could even try to pull that over me.
Right.
But I don't think so.
Yeah, but I feel like I feel like this generation is the only generation that can do it because it's like we played those games when we were younger. We turned out okay.
Exactly.
Like,
so I wouldn't let them get to that point in the first place.
You're a gamer, not a disinterested parent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's also another important detail.
Like,
yeah,
I've always thought, ever since I was a waiter, that you should have to pass a test before becoming a parent. Because there are so many parents out there that are just not suited for it.
I get what you're saying, but here's the thing, Tater. Imagine, you've written standardized tests before, imagine how shitty that fucking test would be.
Oh, it would be.
You know what I mean? Like,
shit.
if it was made by the same people who make the others.
But, like, it would be like trying to test for, like, common sense. And I understand it would be impossible, and this is really just a fucking fantasy of where, like, you could just weed out all the inept parents by making them take a fucking test. And I realize that it'll never happen.
We can.
but I
help,
wish
but-
it could.
Yeah,
I
just
Also, we
wish it could.
appreciate that you like us. Thank you.
Oh,
Just don't be like that Tony guy from last time. Tony
Tony
Sweet
Lemon
Tea.
Tea?
Tony
Yeah.
Lemon Tea,
or
Yeah.
whatever that
Oh,
was.
Yeah, he was
JV?
fired.
Yeah, don't be JB.
Canceled.
Yeah, he was also fired.
he was also fired.
But yeah, like that's the thing with a lot of parents. They need to know what, like, at least the gist of what their kids are playing. Like, know
Right.
what the
You don't
know
need-
what the ESRB rating is. You already
Mhm.
know, and there it's so weird because I think what you're very correct, Tater, because there are parents that are just disinterested and they don't want to learn
Mhm.
enough about it. It's like
Mhm.
you already know about the rating system for movies
Mhm.
and for books, you know, and for TV shows.
Right.
You know about all of that. You already know that you don't want your kids at a certain level to be watching or reading any of those things. So that means that you also need, if they're interested in video games, you need to know what the ESRB rating is. It's not difficult. It's so not difficult. It's
it's
rated
really
E
not.
for everyone, T for teen, M for mature.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
very
right,
easy.
Right. And like in each of those
There's three
ratings
ratings.
is pretty much directly comparable to the movie ratings.
Exactly.
Like
yeah.
there's a
Also-
direct correlation. Like
The game ratings are actual words that make
Yeah, it
sense.
says
Exactly.
teen,
Like it's
mature.
I've actually shown parents before too.
Everyone.
I always do this because I'm like, listen, when they ask me about this stuff, they're like, well, how can I know though what's in these games? Like all I see is that it's rated T, for example. I'm like, look, so if you look on the back of the box, I'm like, sometimes there are stickers covering these things. There are no games in these boxes, so you can go ahead and open them up, pull out the cover art a little bit, and you can see exactly what's on those.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, there we
They-
go. Yeah.
Yep.
What is
Yeah.
that? Rise of the Tomb Raider? Shadow of the Tomb Raider?
This is.
That's Shadow.
Yeah.
Shadow.
Shadow. Yeah.
Which I still have yet to play.
No,
had
I
it
haven't.
for a
I haven't
year.
played Shadow either. Actually.
Yeah.
I got too into Spider-Man,
And like you
about
can
it.
clearly see where the fuck is mine.
and then I got Red Dead.
Ugh.
Like what you call it? Rory, what was the
Like-
first time? When was the first time you played Devil May Cry? Any of them? How old? were
I was 14.
you? I think I was
that.
like 8.
Yeah.
And I got my
I was
hands on
late to
a-
the game.
I got my hands on a rated M game. I
Oh.
got 2 of them. I
Here-
played the first and the third
Here it is.
one.
It's like it's right here. Right there.
It's on the
It
front.
says everything. That's
That's
this is on the back.
There you
Oh,
go.
it's on the back.
Yeah, well, on the
there-
front it'll
there
tell you
is-
the rating, and on the back
there
it'll
is this
specify
that's
what will
on the
tell
front,
you. Yeah.
but yeah, on the back here,
Are
like,
we all showing games?
it'll just show it.
Well,
Like,
everyone
you know,
showed a rated M game, so maybe if you have
yeah,
a rated
like
T game
blood,
or
gore,
something.
intense violence, and strong language. Thank you, Doom.
Okay, you just showed a rated M game again after I
Yes.
said we need a rated T game. Thank you.
I don't think I
Thankfully,
have
Morgan
any
has
rated
that.
rated
There you go.
T games.
Oh,
Or no, yes I do.
Does
Holy
anyone
shit!
have a rated E game? Is the question.
Probably.
Where's
T.
my-
I have a T game. Last Guardian.
if I could find the. Oh, here we are.
Oh, I'm Nino. Woo!
Rated E. Super Smash Bros.
there we go.
Literally, me and Tater put up the same game at the same time.
It was just like it was within grabbing distance. I have the Valkyria Revolution, $20 at GameStop, rated T.
Hey, Tater, question. How are you
What up?
liking that one? Have you played that yet?
I beat it.
Did you like it?
Yeah, it was pretty good. I would give it like a solid 8.2.
I'm thinking
10?
about getting it because I was going to, and then I heard that it wasn't turn-based like the rest of them, and I was
Yo,
like,
what game are we talking about?
Valkyria Chronicles, but this one's
Oh, yeah.
Valkyria Revolution. It's like it's kind of sort of turn-based in the same way that like Tales Zillia was. I would compare the combat to Tales Zillia.
I loved Tales of Zillia. Oh my
Honestly,
God.
Morgan, if you just, I can mail this to you if you want to borrow it.
Oh, that's okay, because I could
'Cause,
actually.
like-
I was thinking about buying it anyway.
I actually
I mean,
own
once it
Tales of
comes
Zillia. As it turn out.
Why
One of
don't
the few
you
Tales games I own? I will play it. I promise. But Morgan, I have to get to Spider-Man
She's so
first.
indignant.
Yeah, you do need to play
Priorities.
through Spider-Man.
Priorities,
So, like,
Morgan.
Spider-Man is like higher on the list.
I already beat it, so
Yeah.
like I'm probably not gonna play it again. So like, I could just straight up just give it to you. I don't really care.
Wait, hold on.
That's actually also a thing too that I kind of maybe want to do
just
in
hear
terms of
nerd.
on my stream, because I would like to do because I want to do Tales of Symphonia.
Mhm.
A
I can't
Tales
wait.
game that I've already played. I probably would replay Tales of Xillia. I loved it that much. I think that one might
Tales
actually
of
be my
Xillia
favorite.
was a fun game.
I loved it.
Jude was a fun character.
I loved Jude. I would probably even
Xillia-
play that one again. Mila was
Xillia,
okay. But...
yeah, Mia, what's her name? Whatever the fucking blonde bitch's name.
Mila.
She was kind of a bitch. Didn't really like her.
I loved Jude though. Here, wait
I
a second.
enjoyed Jude. So, and the thing that I liked
you
about
guys are gonna see me go like, don't worry, I'll be
Weeb,
fine.
I don't either.
okay,
I promise.
okay, don't Jesus Christ, she's standing on a chair with wheels.
I'm
my
fine.
God.
We got this.
So the thing that I liked about Jude,
So
especially as a main male character in a RPG, is that he wasn't fucking stupid.
GG
Ask-
Morgan.
A serious
Okay.
question. Can you,
Rory, real fast.
you can-
check that.
I already did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright.
I ask. Okay, you can ask a serious question. Absolutely. We're gonna evaluate the I'm gonna leave that up to your own judgment. What the serious question is, and if it's something super weird, then we'll deal with that when the time comes.
If it's
Tater,
something super weird, you just won't ever be able to talk again. So just be prepared.
I actually have a whole bunch of these little guys. I should take a picture of them for you sometime because they're actually up there.
Oh, those are
Um,
super cool. Yeah, I would.
Yeah,
I would love that.
So I have the ones. I have all of the collectors for pretty much all the Tales games that are out in the U.S.
Do you have a Lloyd?
Huh?
Do you have a Lloyd?
1 second.
She does. Okay.
Tater casually getting Morgan out here to risk her life to stand on this chair.
Well, I mean, she's Rory's girlfriend, not mine.
Wow.
I mean, fair point.
Love you, Morgan.
Someone read it. Doesn't need to be a girl. Why would it need? Why would I think that it needed to be a girl to read it?
Wait,
They,
what?
Fair,
You
super
guys-
serious question.
I read it. I corrected the
Resurrected
spelling.
as a sea cucumber. You know, chilling in the. Oh, I'm sorry.
So I got Yuri,
Yep.
and there are a lot more of them. I just don't want to get all
Right.
of them. So this is from the collector's edition
Mm-hmm.
of the Symphonia Chronicles. I also have the two main characters from the second game that I have yet to play.
There's my boy.
There he is.
That's my man.
I was super
Well, I'm
excited to
also-
get these.
Really distracted by this cucumber question.
Yeah, I didn't get it either. I'll be honest. I read it and I was like, alright.
Inspiring nanotechnology. Not even kidding. Chilling in the. What? Wait, what?
But yeah, I also have the collector's edition for Xillia and Xillia 2. And so I have like the actual big statues of Mila and what was the other guy's name?
Eric, Lila. There you go. Boom. Problem
Oh,
solved.
that's the wrong one.
Eric's life just got
Lila?
marginally easier.
One
There-
less thing he
there's
has
my-
to worry about.
Or
There's a
Layla.
standard girl name.
But you should spell it like this. Wait a minute. You should spell it like this. Because that's also a Tales reference.
Why did you
Since
just
we're
okay,
overcomplicate
yeah,
his thing?
Yep. That is also yeah. Wait,
Whoa.
what?
Alright, I don't know what's
You're
going
getting-
on.
I
with
don't know
this
what
You're-
this guy's on about.
You're getting weird, Lyos.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and just delete
Dial
that
it
one.
back, man.
Yeah, dial it back a
Alright.
little bit, please. Nah.
Power of two.
Okay.
Yeah. He called on our couple naming power. To name his character. I picked the name and you picked the spelling.
Yeah. I feel like this would be a great time to have Ash here. Just have her be like, "Whoa, pump the brakes."
Pump the brakes. Yeah,
Dude,
pump the brakes.
we're like all of our pictures just like go to
We
the
all
side.
go full screen. We all go full
I
screen.
did-
No,
didn't know this was a
like all of us
semi-Christian
just
stream,
like
my bad.
go to like one aside, and it's just like one big Ash. She's just like,
I'm,
That would've been, like,
I'm
the
gonna
perfect
ask her,
moment.
yo, can you do this like infomercial for us, but not really an infomercial? We just need to play it whenever something weird happens, and they'd be like, yo, you need to fucking calm down.
Oh my god, that's
We're just trying to figure it out.
I kind of like that idea though.
We're
Like,
trying to
I
figure
wish
out if
that
you're
I
a good
still
troll or a bad troll. If you're a good troll, you can stay. If you're a bad troll or a weird troll,
the
Okay,
look,
are
look,
you going to
I-
be like beast level of troll?
yeah,
Or
we
are you
love
gonna
I'm
be
trolls.
comfortable with Beast.
That
Beast
trolls-
is a buddy of
trolls-
mine.
Beast-
level of troll.
Okay,
We're cool.
We're okay with
Beast
trolls.
is alright.
I mean,
so
Trev's a troll. He's on here.
I
We
am an
love Beast.
infamous shit.
this is
talker.
my
Like,
whole thing. Like, none of you be on here.
We don't
Hey,
know yet. Lyos, we don't know yet. We're
We
gonna
don't
find
know.
out though.
Yeah,
But
well,
you know what? I'm
let's tease
excited.
this out. Let's figure it
I'm
out.
excited to see. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I'm
I
sure
love-
we'll get to know
I
each other
love
over
trolling
time.
and I love shit talking.
I try to stick with you. I like you
love-
guys. Well, we're glad about that. And we
Cool.
appreciate that, by the way.
Cool. And I like having shit talked back to me. Now, I'm just interested to see if he's going to be leaning more towards in the beast direction or more like squirrely.
Squirrely.
Squirrely is quite a character.
Squirrely's a
He-
wild cat.
He is such a wild card. Like, it's just like, squirrely, what? You're a genius. I love you.
He's a real character.
He
Squirrely once
is-
coined the term orgy, which I think was interesting at
Mhm.
the very least.
Look,
Yep.
Squirrely is the king of cream, all right? Now, Rory, Morgan, and Melly, you were not there for the induction of the term cream that happened in Tiff's chat.
Yeah,
Alright, you
that's
don't.
fine.
You don't
I
wanna
missed.
know.
I missed that. I missed
Yeah,
that.
next time that Squirrely's around, you need to ask him the story behind that. Because I couldn't do it justice.
I was in a chat once that like a stream I just found randomly, and then
Yeah, you
Squirrely
don't
started
win,
talking, and
then,
he was a
like,
VIP.
He was a VIP. I remember
Like,
I
was
found
like,
him
what the fuck?
because you told
Yeah.
me that,
That's
and
amazing.
I waited in that channel, and then I saw him again. I was like, "Yo!" And then he was just like, "Oh!" And like he's completely normal in that chat, and I was like,
I
what,
want a
who
pizza
is
too,
this?
Lyos.
Yeah,
I'm
we
right
all
there
want.
with
We
you.
all want pizza.
Right there with you. The
Dude, I had today
Here's
for
Ray's,
Whoa, unpopular opinion.
Eat
Ray.
soup.
Ray
Ray, what the
got
fuck?
controversial
here's Ray
opinions
and his
about-
Pizza Hut hating habits.
I was
Here,
so
ready?
No,
happy.
he likes
today.
calzones and strombolis or whatever.
Soup
better
isn't
than-
food.
than-
Oh my
Whoa,
God,
Ray,
Ray,
you should
Ray,
Ray, right
Ray,
now.
Yeah.
You have the
relax,
power.
relax.
You need
You
to
know what?
calm
I'm just
down,
gonna
Ray.
like.
Yeah.
Oh
You
my
also
God.
hate
Yeah, hey, nice shot.
Look, that wasn't even me that time. So you can't be coming at
No,
me
that was
saying
straight
that
up-
I
straight up
attacked
Morgan.
you.
That was.
Okay. But you know, I came home today. I had leftover Pizza Hut pizza, and I was so
And you
happy.
demolished it.
I did demolish it. It was amazing. I was like,
I love
yes,
that.
Pizza Hut pizza.
Why does this guy have a bat?
Yeah, we can't fault you for being true to yourself. That is true.
Well, I mean, Morgan can.
Soup isn't food. Blast.
It's like,
It was
ooh,
definitely
and
Morgan.
I'm about
Yes,
to come
I
on.
said it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
I had soup for lunch. It was totally fine.
I had
think-
soup
It's completely
like 10
full.
minutes ago. That wasn't 10
I
minutes
think
ago.
I had soup as a second dinner.
we had this discussion in Rory's channel yesterday. The whole like Ray thinks stromboli and calzones are better than pizza.
Now he might have a supporter. Like Morgan is a big fan of calzone.
I love calzones.
Yeah, I also love
Me too.
calzones.
So
Um,
calzones are good depending on how they're done. I've
Yeah.
had calzones done like complete shit.
Mm.
I've also had calzones that were amazing. And I wouldn't ever say one's better than the other, because a calzone or a stromboli, it's a sandwich. Pizzas are a little bit different. They're not
Got my
sandwiches.
Skyrim children armor on.
Children. No, Rory, what you need is your Legend of Zelda chicken armor.
yes. Yeah.
I see that joke was for Rory and
Um,
Rory alone.
My dad makes really good calzones. He is really good at.
My dream, as I mentioned like last night on my stream, my big like dream in life is to get everyone to come to Newfoundland and buy donaires, with the exception of Melly, who cannot eat the donaires. But Melly can enjoy the vegan Chinese restaurant downtown.
Yeah, I'll
St.
enjoy
John's.
the Chinese food. Yeah.
Oh, it's so good, Melly. It's ridiculous.
So actually, the Thai place that's near me, like 90% of its menu is like vegan options.
I love Thai food so much.
And this place is amazing, and I've probably unwittingly had vegan food there.
Yeah,
I
definitely,
wouldn't know.
yeah.
It's just delicious.
Can I ask? Was it one of those like? Is it like a late night open, like really late Thai place, or is it like Thai restaurant? Like what style?
It's a Thai restaurant. They are open from like 10 a.m. to like 10 at night.
Oh, okay, yeah, one of those, yeah. Because they've also got those. There are those like 24-hour Thai joints as well.
Zeus.
This is
Fine.
not them.
Zeus!
Zeus was late
Oh,
for
shit.
once.
How's the Astros doing?
Welcome.
Zeus
The,
was late for once. Oh, is that why? Is
Well,
he watching
yeah,
the
yeah.
game?
Sing the Yellow Rose of Texas. No one seen Preacher?
Like the television
I
show?
have.
Yeah.
I've seen the first little bit, but I
Oh,
haven't watched more of
yay.
it. But I really like Joe
Okay.
Gilgan.
Yay,
So,
sports ball.
I should
Rory-
watch more. Yeah, what's up?
You need to watch all of it.
I will watch all of it. That is a commitment I can make. 100%. 100%.
Okay? Because
The,
I need you to get that reference and a bunch of other ones.
Okay, deal.
That
Yeah.
all stemmed from that show?
Hey guys, they won.
To
Okay.
maintain
Alright,
this bromance.
Hold up. Who won? Who won?
The Astros. Houston
The Astros are a baseball team, aren't
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
they? Canada. I succeeded.
He only
It's
knows
okay.
the Blue
I mean,
Jays.
in your
It's fine.
defense, we call it the World Series, and it only involves one country. So
Yeah.
I'm ready now, Morgan.
The
See, I'm
audacity.
ready for my trip to America. Right? I've
His
heard of
American
your
knowledge
ways,
is like-
right?
they
Like I have a sports ball team that I am happy to.
Look, Rory.
they're gonna
report.
question you at the border.
Rory, here's
Yeah.
what we can do. When we go to Canada for Solaricon, we can all pretend to be Canadians, and then when you come to America, you can pretend to be American, and we can see who did it better.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, to be fair, it's not that
You guys are probably gonna do it better, but like,
it's not that hard to pretend to be an American. You just got to be the rootin' tootin'est, gun shootin'est person around.
I
and
feel like it's
there
not
you
hard
go.
for
Just
either.
be really loud.
really loud and really rude.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, okay, that depends which part of the country that you're in.
Yeah, like if you're on like
So,
the
like-
south side, you're like
just
The
bacon
North-
wrap everything,
Like-
deep fry everything, and put bacon on it.
That's everywhere. All right.
You
all right,
definitely
all right.
need your Canadian
Rory-
accent. You need to
Rory
work on
is
your
already-
oyas.
already super
Yeah, oh yeah.
American.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
No, because yesterday, Rory asked me, like, and you didn't shoot her, so like he was like suggesting that I shoot somebody, and I was like, oh,
Yeah,
alright.
that's
I was
right.
like-
Yeah.
See that Sugar John is practicing again.
Yeah.
Sugar Man.
Mhm.
He's cutting a
Basically
track or
Americans
something.
who aren't hated by the rest of the world. Canada and America definitely have similarities, but there's a lot of like really specific things that I didn't honestly like. I've learned of a lot of them from you guys, just from talking to you and just like hearing about your experiences. And I'm like, oh, that's
I-
not something I've ever heard of.
I love when you tell us about Newfie slang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Morgan's
what's
been
after-
learning. Morgan's been using it like
happening now?
absentmindedly, like without even like trying. Now.
Okay, but that's because she has a lot of contact with a native Newfie.
That's true. Yeah.
All right, I'm sure that would happen to any of us if we talked to you on a more regular basis.
Do you
But
know
I
it's
still- I
it's a
still
very
love what's after happening now.
What's after having an ally?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
Like,
Yeah, me too. What were you gonna say, Melly? What do you
I
love?
was gonna say, well, you know, it's a very common thing for like Americans to actually say that they're Canadian when they're traveling abroad because
I've heard of that. I've heard of them
they
actually stitching
generally-
maple leaves into their backpacks. And
Yeah, they
stuff.
generally get treated better if you say you're from Canada.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah.
So I know that's a very common thing.
Yeah, I've actually noticed that people do tend to like Canada, like when I've been like when I traveled to Europe and stuff like that. I definitely now I can't like experience it from the other side. Like I can't go and pretend that I'm from Delaware or something like that, and then see how they treat me.
No,
Yeah.
nobody does that. No Canadians pretend that they're American. Just the other way.
Yeah.
No one would want to.
No one.
Yeah,
no one
sorry,
does.
eh? Yeah, you got it. Yeah, yeah. So Morgan will probably pick up Canadian stuff and Newfoundland stuff, which is
Oh
very
god,
interesting.
does that mean I'm gonna have to say
Stay where you at till I come to where you to.
pasta instead of
That's
pasta?
right. Yeah.
Pasta.
There's no H in that
Pasta.
fucking word. I hate all of you.
Rory picked one of the smallest states.
At least you didn't say Iowa.
Who the fuck lives in
fuck
Delaware?
lives in
We have no
Delaware? I don't
idea.
know.
Nobody in
Joe
this
Biden's
Driven
from
through
demographic.
Delaware, but, like,
It
that's it.
takes
That's all I
10
know.
minutes. It takes like 10 minutes to drive through Delaware.
Warsh, that's my favorite word to hate. Oh my god. Drawling, I hate that.
George Washington.
Oh, I know a lot of people
Washington.
hate moist.
What are we, goofy now? Washington. You know her?
My 6th grade teacher talked like that.
Like
He would add
Goofy?
R's. Yeah, he
Wow.
said you
Gorsh.
gorsh. Wash your clothes.
The
Gotta go wash my clothes, Millie.
Pasta.
this is like I gotta tell you something because this is funny. So this is like I don't know if I've told any of you this story before. I've definitely told more, but like back home we had this like call-in radio show called Open Line, and you just call in.
I think I
and
know where this is
there would,
going, but yeah.
yeah, there would be a topic right for the day. And no one would ever talk about the topic, right? And one of them, this is like fundamentally the most Canadian and most Newfoundland thing I'd ever heard. There's like 2 of these stories. The first of which is like shorter one, which is this lady used to call in and all she would talk about is how much she loved the premier of the province, which is like, they're like our governors, right?
Okay.
And she loved Danny Williams, who was the premier of Newfoundland. And she
Right.
just call in and just talk about how great he was, but not like policies or anything like that. Just like how wonderful he seemed. To say, oh, and when I sees that smile, and just like, she just loved this dude, right?
I know these stories, yes.
And
Wow.
there was
Oh
another
my God, that's
wonderful one
fantastic.
where this lady called in, and there was like 15 minutes left in the program, and they had to cut her off before she finished her story. That's how long the story was.
Oh my
because
God, that's amazing.
I don't even know what it was about because it never like built anything. And she would just talk, like she started the story from like moment 1 of the day. She was like, oh, now me and my husband, we were sitting at the dinner table and we was eating cereal, and we forgot that we had to go out and get milk now. So we hopped in the car and we drove on down to the grocery store. Now in the parking lot we ran into Greg. Now Greg got to use truck, you see, and it just kept going and going.
Oh, no,
and eventually
what is
they
going
were
on with
just
my-
like,
You're good
all right,
now.
we gotta end
Oh
this.
my
Like,
God.
we can't.
Okay, so
Oh.
how much for you to do an entire stream like this?
Like with my with an actual Newfoundland accent.
Yes.
Like I don't know. That would be.
Is
a
it
lot.
something you can go like
we
that,
gotta
like
hit
turn it on
We gotta
and
hit
off?
affiliate. And start
That could be
getting income.
affiliate gifted subs something. Yeah, that'll be like a sub goal.
I will make that happen.
I could easily see myself gifting Rory like 25 subs just to have him do that for like a couple hours.
I can do it.
I would
'cause
I would support that. I would support
He
that.
can. I know
Could-
he can.
Yeah, because I was right. Like half my family's from Newfoundland, so my mother's side of the family does have a Newfoundland accent. My father's doesn't, so I can speak in both mainstream
Well-
Canadian accents and Newfoundland
Well,
accents.
like I feel like
So,
what
do you-
game would it be though? I feel like that'd be important.
It would have to be a stealth game.
Yeah, it would have to be. I agree. Yeah.
He'd have
was
to
your
narrate
question,
what was
Tater?
going
Do you-
on.
Actually, even better, that's how I want you to read lore.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
alright.
Yeah. I'll do that.
Ash will
That would be
read lore
good.
in
And a
like
Southern
a
Belle
Southern
or a
Belle.
Russian bear.
or Russian.
Melly does an excellent British accent. I just want you to read lore in a Newfie accent. Because I feel like it would just take on a
Advertisement?
whole
Is that what
new
you're going
meaning.
for?
Oh my god, Zeus,
Advertisement?
you know that now whenever I see that word, I think of it as advertisement now because of how often Rory says it like that.
Advertisements.
That's the word, right?
Advertisement.
I don't say
Advertisement.
advertisement anymore.
That's
I
very
look at it and I
American.
go advertisement.
I actually had to like pause and not
Adverts.
say anything after yesterday's debacle when I was like
That's
bringing
like-
up shit that everyone gave me shit for. So I didn't want to like.
Okay, so
I didn't
I
want to get
suppose
it wrong.
that would be like the difference between saying aluminum and
Aluminium. Yeah.
But to be fair to them, they actually
Zero.
spell it differently in England. Like they do actually add the missing I that's required for their word.
Advertisement.
Like they spell it like they say it.
right.
Honestly, it does sound nicer when you say
No,
it.
but like when you
I
said
say
advertisement,
advertisement,
it's not
Advertisement.
Well, it should be
advertisement,
French.
Like I would have thought it was a completely different word.
Well, you call them adverts for short.
Yeah, adverts. Yeah, exactly. That's what they called them when I was growing up because I went to like an
Yeah.
international school and there were a lot of English people there.
There's
See,
Really?
so many adverts.
we would just say ads.
Yeah.
That's
Only
one of
if
the
someone
reasons why I
handwritten
don't
blood.
speak as
Ads.
like in like as much of a Newfoundland accent as some of the other Newfoundlanders, even though I can.
Right.
Rory's already hot. What are you at?
Oh my god.
You're the sweetest.
Morgan's gonna paint Rory like a French boy
Oh my
or something.
Are you like one of your French girls?
Now say it in French.
Say it in French. Wow.
But I said
I know what
Hawker.
Hawker.
Alright, so do we want to
Oh
talk
my
about this last
goodness.
article? Since we all...
Well, there's 2 more, right?
Oh,
there's 2?
No, I counted wrong.
Oh, okay.
Well, now we know who slid into whose DM.
Oh, I think we already touched upon this about the Congress and the Blizzard.
We did a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
No, there's
This
an
one-
EA one, I think.
Well, didn't we already talk about EA?
There's the EA. No, this is EA. Maybe Steam. We mentioned it before the podcast started, Tater.
Oh,
We were
right,
just,
about how
talking,
the
yeah.
EA games were coming back to
Seems like
Steam.
quite a possibility. Of
Yeah,
course,
it seems like a
I guess they'll
strong-
come back to Steam maybe right after me and Tater play Dead Space 3 on
Yeah,
Origin.
yeah. Like we will finish the game next day. It's on a Steam, and we're like, fuck.
Yeah, like literally, yeah. Also, as soon as we finish that game, Origin
Is
can
gonna
fly
go-
to fuck.
go
To be
away.
honest,
It can
like,
Uninstalled.
eat a dick.
yeah.
Oh yeah, just boom, gone, no more. Virus away.
Oh,
Oh what? I will Quasar. Who's Quasar?
I think
I'm
that's
assuming
all.
a
Zippy's kitty. Zippy's kitty.
Zippy's cat. Okay,
it's a good name.
it is a good name.
The Sims was free at one point in time.
Yeah, I got.
Was it really?
Yeah.
it was
like-
Oh,
4
Ray is
months ago or
apparently
something.
very excited about Dead Space 3.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be good.
So-
I'm me too.
I've actually noticed a trend recently of like games that are, and I shouldn't really call it a trend unless they all release around the same time, but there are certain games that were only good if you played it with other people. So like Melly and Ash were just playing RE6, and that game's only good if you have a friend.
Mm.
Dead Space 3, only good if you have a friend.
I feel like Monster Hunter's that way too.
Monster
Like, I don't
Hunter,
think they
only good
would've
if you...
played if, like,
Yeah. Like,
I would not play that game solo.
That game solo, boring as fuck.
Yeah.
Games like Destiny, only good if you have a friend.
Mm.
Borderlands to a lesser extent.
Borderlands is exceptionally improved by having a friend, but
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
think it's necessary.
It's not, that game isn't necessary, but it's much better.
But you can't go back. Once you've played with a friend, you cannot go back to playing Borderlands single player. It's literally
another
fucking
game.
impossible.
Unless you're
Division.
TS.
Unless you're TS, that's true.
Yeah.
Actually. Another
Division,
game?
yeah.
Sorry?
Division, yeah. Cause
Oh my
we all
god!
just
Like
play-
literally,
yeah.
like yeah. Like honestly, like the Division on its own, the Division 1 would have been like pulling teeth.
Mhm.
But like with people, it was actually a blast. Like
Mhm. So, yeah, and then there was actually there was an EA game that was like co-op. I think it came out last year. It was about like doing a prison break. I can't remember the name of it though.
It was an EA game.
Yeah.
oh, A Way Out.
You're
Oh,
thinking of A Way Out, yeah. I don't know if that
Oh,
was
oh,
EA.
oh,
that was a
yes.
that was a
I think-
couch co-op
Oh,
game.
yeah.
But I think
No.
that was EA because EA has like an independent game.
So
and I
Oh,
think
yeah,
that was
right.
part of their independent
EA.
games.
So EA, they weren't the devs, but they were the publishers.
Yes.
And I remember this very specifically because the like lead dev was in the video game awards for 2017.
Yeah, he was. I remember. Yeah.
2017. He was like, "Oh, I know everyone loves to talk shit on EA and blah blah blah, but they've been great to me and my team. This game is," and he said like all these great things about it. Which,
Yeah.
to be fair, if EA hadn't published it, I might have actually bought it because it looked like it was a good enough game.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
Played-
short, but it is pretty good, yeah.
Short, and it looked good enough to play twice, so you could get both endings.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of this thing I have with companies like Activision Blizzard, right? Like they,
Mhm.
did all this Diablo Immortal stuff. They're doing all this stuff
Yeah.
now, and it's like, they're no one's favorite person. But also, Tater, as you know, they also released like a bunch of games recently on GOG, which is a very pro-consumer move, in my opinion, to release something
absolutely.
DRM free.
Absolutely.
And like that's like I'm like, how do I feel right now? Like,
It's
Like, I'm
honestly
confused.
It's just like, okay, you're really sending me mixed messages here.
Yeah.
I want you to pick a lane and stick with it, and hopefully you pick the lane that allows me to love you.
Yes, exactly.
Like-
Oh, Ari, I definitely know that about The Sims. Well, that's something that does bother me a bit with The Sims 4 because the base game is $40 and the
isn't
expansion packs are
DLC
$40.
Yeah.
Oof.
And I don't
Can you
like
play
that.
the
Robbery.
DLC alone as opposed to like having to own the base
You
I
have
don't
to have
think
the base
so.
game.
I'm pretty sure you would, because
You have to have the base game.
then it would just be a separate game and not DLC.
Yeah.
It actually reminds me.
Because it wouldn't be considered an expansion pack. at that point.
Back in the Halo 2 days when I was young and impressionable and kind of a fucking idiot, on the Xbox they came out with a Halo 2 map expansion pack, and younger TJ or Tater didn't understand that wasn't Halo 2, so I purchased the map expansion pack without having the base game, and I'm just like, why don't I?
Oh, yeah.
Really, Melly?
But I'm really excited and EA is also one of those companies that like they do great things for indie games on top of doing all the weird shit they do for non-indie games.
Which is so interesting because they have rightfully earned the title of developer ruiner or destroyer. Like they just look at what they've done to like BioWare. I used to love BioWare games. 5 years ago, if I heard a BioWare game was coming out, it was almost guaranteed that I was going to end up buying it just because it was made by BioWare.
Yeah, I mean, Visceral Games. You and I are going to be playing Dead Space, and EA
Visceral Games
chewed up
They
and spit out
fucking
Visceral Games.
Just they chewed them up, spit them out, beat them with a dead horse.
Yeah, exactly.
Where do
yeah.
you
Like,
think
didn't-
it all went wrong for EA? Because at some point in time they were decent. Like back in
Hey, back in the day, back when EA was making like Battlefield games, like Battlefield 1942, like when I was
they
first
were
into
awesome, yeah.
gaming, yeah, hell yeah.
Honestly, the change I'm pretty sure happened somewhere up top. Like there was a change in management at some point, and that's when everything went downhill. When that change of management made everything fuck the consumer. Let's focus on squeezing as much money out of them as we possibly can. And it was a gradual like decline. It didn't happen like that, but it happened.
Yeah, this stuff is gradual, yeah, and that it's actually very sad when it does end up happening, because we lose out on a lot of great stuff, and it's a shame what happens to the legacy of games that get sort of like EA'd to hell.
like even games that aren't out now, like I know a lot of people are super hesitant on the Fallen Order.
Right.
Yeah, exactly, because
And that's the last try they did with that. They were like,
And honestly, even if that game is great, it's still going to be a little weird because it's like, hey, why can't you do this all the time? Like, that's what I felt about their marketing behind the game. Like, they talk a lot about single player, no microtransactions. Don't worry, guys. It's like, okay, but so you're acknowledging that the other stuff is bad right now.
Yeah.
it's like, but
Yeah.
you continually do
like,
it.
is it? Yeah, is it like?
Yep.
I don't
It's like,
understand. They have it
why
both
are you-
ways. Sorry.
Why are you suddenly now trying to appeal to that crowd that loves single player games?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
yeah.
do you want our money that bad?
Yeah, the
And the answer is yes. Yes, they do. But it's just like, really, guys, come on.
Yeah. Bethesda was like they did some stuff that was like controversial. Like I always talk about how Skyrim was controversial among a lot of Elder Scrolls fans, but it's still like a beloved game. At least it's a game design quarrel that people have with like, hey, this thing has too many bugs, and hey, like maybe you made this a little too easy, like some people said. But like, now it's like, oh my god, it's like gone to hell.
The general thing with Bethesda when it was just like Fallout 3 and New Vegas and Morrowind and Oblivion is that like we knew that they put out buggy games. We knew that they made mod sandbox.
Yeah.
And you know what? That was okay. When it was just, here's a game, great story, fun, buggy as all hell, but you guys will just mod it out because you enjoy doing that.
Yeah, exactly.
And
yeah,
that
it
was
like part
fine.
of the understanding.
Yeah, that was like, you know, if you're buying a Bethesda game, you understand that you have to get it on PC and fucking mod it.
Hmm.
But like with where Bethesda's at now, it's just like, guys, I want to like you. I really do.
Hmm.
I want to buy games from you. I want to like you, but you're really making it hard.
Yeah, and they've really
That's
lost the
very-
purpose of like, well, like and when we say Bethesda too, we're talking like largely also about like the publishing arm. So I include ESO, even though it's not Bethesda Game Studios making it, ZeniMax Online.
Right.
It's
Mhm.
still like, and it's part of the universe that Bethesda created. So
Yeah.
Part of that umbrella. Like it may not
yeah, it's
be
part of- yeah.
associated directly, but it's like it's still
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like ESO is a very confusing thing in the world of games right now. And like where it sits in its own universe and where it sits in like what that company's plan is for the future and what kind of games they actually want to make. It used to be very clear, like Tater said, like Fallout 3 and like Oblivion are the same kind of game. Like there's a very clear purpose behind both of those games. Open
Yep.
world Western RPG, a little light on the narrative and a little heavier on the exploration.
Yep.
Like it's cut and dry. And now it's
Yep.
like what does Bethesda make? What even is Fallout 76? What kind of game is that? Does anyone know?
Yeah, it's like it's an MMO looter
bad
shooter,
one.
but do those things really need to mix?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like,
it's
I
mostly
can't-
just confusing.
Can we
Like-
just have a looter shooter?
Innovation is great in gaming, you know, but
If done right.
sometimes
yeah,
exactly.
You can't
Okay.
be doing wild shit
sometimes-
out in left field and
sometimes-
expecting.
Innovation.
just having a certain like a certain formula for a
Mhm.
game will make it great. Like I love Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door. You know, that game does not get old for me. I love it. Like playing games like those for me, I don't mind. Playing games like Fire Emblem, I don't mind, you know,
Mhm.
because I like those game formulas. It's great if
Right.
I can find another game that innovates off of things and makes it a lot different. Like I obviously like if it's done right, I really like those, but regular game formulas, I'm completely fine with too. Like as long as they can
Yeah.
do that
So-
right.
Innovation is in general a good thing, but you kind of have to admit when your innovative thing just didn't work out. Like I
Yeah.
feel like Fallout 76 was a failed experiment. Like
Yeah.
you tried, didn't really work out well, you should really let it die.
And the thing
Yeah,
that
I
was really
agree.
weird with Fallout 76 too is I remember them being like when Fallout 76 got announced, they're like, we're being so innovative. This is so new
Mhm.
and so different. We are going to
Mhm.
have a game with 0 NPCs. Every single person you meet in this game is going to be a real, actual live player.
I
And
remember
then
that, yeah.
a year later, they announced
They
they were
announced
putting
they're adding NPCs.
in
Right.
Fallout 76, and they're like, we're being so innovative. Like you're
Yeah.
just basically you're saying that you're being innovative when what you're actually doing is
But
fixing what you
you're
fixing a
you're
mistake
having
and-
to
right.
backpedal. You're backpedaling and you're fixing your innovations.
Yeah, and I don't think that Fallout is like Star Wars. At least you could say Star Wars. It's like, what kind of games does Star Wars make? Oh, there's shooters, there's racing
hmm
things. But
Mhm.
like, I don't think Fallout is a role playing franchise. It doesn't make
Right.
sense to have Fallout be really anything but that.
Right.
Like, you're
And,
not
like-
using Fallout for anything good. Then, like, what's the point of having it be Fallout?
See,
Right.
and the thing with me is that like I want to try brand new games that are really different, you know. But
Mhm.
at the same time, how many times have I gone back to Uncharted, to Mario Kart, to the Tales games, you know,
hmm
and just replayed them just because I really Animal Crossing, you know, I really love all of them.
Yeah, and you do it because those games are fun. They
Mhm.
work, and they don't have all this like wonky stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And like, honestly, I was saying to Trev the other day, I think we were talking, and like I was like, you know, in some ways, online on console and allowing developers to patch is one of the worst things that's ever happened to games. Like allowing patches
Yes.
such that you can fix it after
Yes.
release. I understand that it was obviously inevitable because the internet,
Yes.
but like it's really
I-
cost us a lot.
That really is a good thing, but I also
It's
I
a good
hate
and bad thing. Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I hate that day one patches are a thing.
Like
A
COD
50
today.
gigabyte day one
COD
patch
had a
should not
7
be
gigabyte
happening.
patch today, and like
Yeah,
it
and
came
publishers
There should-
force developers out with their games before they're ready and full position
Yeah.
too.
Like
Mm-hmm.
there should be no such thing as a day one patch. If your game has some sort of game breaking fucking thing on release, it shouldn't have been fucking released.
Yeah, you should have just
Exactly.
waited. You should have done what Naughty Dog did and
Just
pushed it back. The extra
Push
time.
it back. I would rather
See-
hear a game gets pushed back so that they can fix shit than have it be released on time and be shit.
Also, yeah,
What was
day
it
one
that-
DLC is definitely terrible.
This was
All
one of
of
my
them get day
favorite
one DLC
quotes.
up fast.
One of my favorite oh Jesus.
Throats. Favorite throats.
One of my favorite quotes from Shigeru Miyamoto was, "A delayed game is eventually good, but a rushed game is forever bad." And
Yes.
I love that.
Yes.
That's 100% true.
Well said.
Thanks, Tater.
You're welcome. I know commands.
Oh, you're 100% right, Zippy. That is you. Yeah, is that they have to send it out before actual release date,
Mhm.
and then.
Right.
But the problem is still solved by delaying release.
See, and that's the thing, because with older games, when we didn't have this like thing, because again, patches are great because if you have an issue, like a small issue, you can at least fix that wirelessly. But that's really good. But the fact that they can do that makes it so that they're like, we can just fix this huge problem later on.
Right.
When it came to
Mhm.
older games, like in the 90s,
That
for example, like
wasn't an option.
1998, if they had a bunch of big bugs in a game, they'd be like, okay, we need to delay this and we need to fix this because
Mhm.
there's no fixing it. Like,
Patching it
them
was not
fixing it,
Once those came out, you
Well,
got whatever
them
was on that
patching it-
disc.
yeah, them patching it was re-releasing it. And
Yeah.
they didn't want to do that because that was already bad, because they'd be having
Mm-hmm.
to either give it out for super low price or be re-releasing it for, like, say $50 again, and then people
Mhm.
having to rebuy it for $50, and who wants to do that, right?
Can I
Interesting
read
thing
what
there.
Zippy said just because I think it's so
Yeah.
good? It should be used as a safety net, not a planned development time. Yeah, you shouldn't
Yes.
plan for that.
I like
That
that a
is
lot.
You shouldn't be
100%
releasing
correct.
it and be like, oh, don't worry, we can still fix it a week
Yeah.
on the release. It's like, no,
Also-
you should have fixed it before.
Morgan, I like your attention to a detail there. Games that were coming out in '98 that were $50 and not $60.
Mhm.
Just good little tidbit of attention
Oh,
to a detail.
Boy, don't get me started on talking about Maple Bucks up here.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you're right. Actually, how did that affect you? Did it go from like 60 to like 90?
Add
I think
10.
it's-
Add 10 to
I think
whatever
it's
it
like
is for
80
you,
right
basically.
now.
Mhm.
Like,
Okay, so it
that's
went from
obviously not
60
how
to
cost
70.
conversion usually works, but more or
You're
less,
right.
yeah. We yeah, like so a new here. Let me just actually. What's a new game right now? Like, what's a
COD.
game that just came out?
Modern Warfare.
Yeah,
Luigi's
COD.
Mansion is
Modern
coming out in a week.
Okay, I actually was hoping for a game that I could find on Steam. Okay, so the Outer Worlds is a $75 game.
Oh.
So I don't know what that is for you.
So for us, it would be 60.
$59.99.
Yeah.
60, yeah. So it's 75 for me.
Yeah. So we
So
Up-
15 more or less.
so-
yeah.
15. Okay.
Hmm.
But
That's
yeah, like that's the thing when it comes to games like that, because like there was no doing that. Like if you had a big
Mhm.
bug, you were done. You know, like this game needs to be fully re-released, and no
Mhm.
game company wants to have to do that. Versus,
Right.
I think like I think COD, like the newest COD, I could be wrong, I think got like a 50 gigabyte day one patch or something like that. That's
I
a
know
lot.
for Modern Warfare today there was a 7 gig patch, but
There was
yesterday
another?
there was a patch as well.
Okay. So for those of you who aren't like tech savvy, a 50 gigs is not a fucking patch.
Yeah, no.
That's
That's
like
a
a
game.
whole-
That's a game.
That's
a whole-
that's not even a small game.
Yeah. Like
It's a
that's
decently
that-
sized game.
That's not like version 1.1. You're on to version 2 now.
Last year's Call of Duty
Like-
also had a 50 gigabyte day one patch. Like I had to tell people that, and I actually have to tell people now
Like-
because I want to say it's like 100 and something gigabyte game. there's a lot of people who don't realize that too.
Well,
Not to mention, it's online.
that is
It's you have to
ridiculous.
still be connected to the internet to even play the single player.
Which I also think is
bit
bullshit.
The largest one I've ever seen is probably the Red Dead Redemption one, because it wasn't that one like 108 gigs or something.
That one is
release?
140 gigs or something like that.
So
Yeah, like
Outer Worlds is just under 40 gigs. So think of a 50 gig day one patch. It's bigger than the Outer Worlds.
That is ridiculous. Like, I'm sorry, but anything that big isn't a patch.
No, it's not. That could be an expansion.
Yeah,
Like, that's a whole expansion. That could be a whole nother game. Like,
that is a whole nother game.
Easily, yeah.
like
yeah.
when I'm sorry, but when I do my patches for like Windows and shit, I'm used to seeing like megabytes and kilobytes.
Well, and see, like that, the way the games are sometimes kind of gets me. Like, I understand, like, Call of Duty is more realistic looking than certain games, but, like,
Okay, sure.
like, say, like, a 50, 60 gigabyte game is, like, has a storyline that is 15 hours long, versus, I think I beat Tales of Zestiria, and that's, like, a 12 to 20 gigabyte game.
Yeah, but you get a couple hundred hours out of
65
it.
hours. I think I beat in, like, 65 to 70
Yeah.
hours just for the regular storyline.
Actually, how big of a game is Persona 5?
Persona 5, I think, is a 20 gigabyte.
20 gig game, and you got over 400 hours out of it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and there's some games that are big for like, a
More than
very specific
500
reason,
hours.
Like Titanfall
Well, now.
2 has like 1 billion gigs of uncompressed audio, but that's
Oh,
for
wow, it's
technical
really funny.
reasons. Like the
Ooh, Persona 5 Royal has an increase of 10 gigabytes.
So it's up to a 30 gig game.
Which means that there's probably a lot of content in that.
That is so and that's what I love about JRPGs is that they're really long games, but they don't waste space. Like, and they don't have.
They don't. They really don't.
Their coding is better optimized.
See, that's something that I really like about most JRPGs most of the time, because they're not like the most game. They can get the job done in 12 to 20 gigabytes. 30 at most, I've noticed. And they still end up being really long, awesome games with lots of storyline, lots of dialogue, lots of gameplay.
Still going to sink 126 hours into that 120 gig game in the story alone. Never mind if you have to grind, or if you want to grind. Because, let's be honest, as a JRPG, you're going to end up fucking grinding at some point.
Dragon Quest 11. What's that one at? 1 second.
I think we shouldn't give a shout out to Capcom, because all the games they've been coming out with, not a single bullshit issue.
The PS4 version of Dragon Quest 11 is a little bit above 30 gigabytes with all the patches right now. And I haven't beaten that game yet. And I think I'm up to 65 hours on that one.
And you know what?
Same with Tales of Vesperia. I'm going to look at all of these, because Tales of Vesperia, I know I'm more than 60 hours
Dragon
in.
Quest 11, awesome game.
Yes.
The fact that 30 gigs and you can get that many hours out of a single player game, amazing.
for real, I'm probably gonna get it on the Switch. Because I'd like to have that handheld. I'd like to have that game as a handheld.
Not a bad call.
So I talked to my friend Sedona about that today, because I was reluctant on getting it on the Switch. I really want on the Switch for a bunch of the different modes and the soundtracks and stuff like that they have on it. But I was kind of afraid about frame rate issues, and my friend Sedona said she's had 0 frame rate issues, and I'm surprised by that. So I might actually get it.
I'm glad that it's a good port. Honestly, like one of the main reasons I like portable gaming isn't because like I take it on the bus or whatever. It's because like I don't always want to sit at my computer, and sometimes I want to sit in my bed. I know that sounds like the laziest fucking thing on the planet, but like it really does make a difference.
Now you want to, because you don't have a graham cracker. But.
Now now it's actually a comfortable bed, but like
but now though, like what I used to do is like before I even streamed and stuff, like I would play my Switch while I was like watching Parks and Recreation. Tales of Vesperia Definitive Edition for the PS4 takes up 22, almost 23 gigabytes, and I am more than 60 hours into that game.
And that's a Tales game. You can easily sink in 1,000 hours.
Oh my god! I was thinking about trying to platinum it, And there's one thing that's like, get up to level 200. I'm like, oh.
I think what more games need to go for is how to find more replayability for their stuff.
Yes.
Because like if you're just one and done, then it's like, no
That's
matter how
what
good it is, like
So
it still feels like
it can
they're
be
ripping you
so
off.
pretty, but if
one and done games
Mhm.
kind of suck because if they're a full price game and you pay that $60, I want it to be long enough that I feel like I got that $60 worth.
Yes.
Yeah.
But if it's one and done and $60 and I only got the 20 hours worth of content out of it,
See, like, so Untitled Goose Game, I beat, not the entire thing even, but I beat the storyline at least in 4 hours. And that was a $15 game for me. And I was like, that was fine, you know? But if I'm paying $60 for a game that has a 15-hour storyline at most, that's, I don't know.
I actually I know me and all of us have talked a lot of shit about Bethesda tonight, but one thing I did think that's impressive about Bethesda and the way they make games is not only are they really long and you could play them forever and there's lots of quests and lots of narrative to explore, but you can then replay them, which I think is an insane balance, and I'm impressed that they're able to do both of those. Like, how many times have me and Trev started a new character in Skyrim? Like a million.
Sure, yeah,
and we play them exhaustively. Like, yeah, when I'm sick, portable games. Like when I'm sick, I don't want to sit at a desktop computer, so I totally get that.
That's why I like my Switch. So.
How many started in Fallout 3? Oh hell yeah, jam day.
You okay, Melly?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to hop off because
we've gone a little bit long.
Yeah, I mean we've reached our 3-hour mark, so
yeah, it's 1 in the morning.
It is 1 in the morning.
Well, thank you everyone so much for coming by, and thank you Tater for being our guest. You're an awesome guest.
It was a great time. I would love to come again.
You will reappear for sure. You will be a recurring character.
Recurring character.
Yeah. I've been
recurring NPC.
I've been streaming since 3:30, so I need.
Yeah, you were streaming a lot today.
Yeah.
How was your stream though, Melly? Did you have fun?
Yeah, it was really fun.
That's good.
And also emotional.
You know why she's like out of it right now? She's drinking all those claws.
I haven't touched one in 3 hours.
like-
Yeah, but
I'm
it's the
fine.
after effect. Like you chugged like 9 of them before. And
I've
it's
been
like,
drinking
all right,
water and I've been having tacos. It's fine.
You're hungover now.
No.
I'm actually gonna eat some dinner myself.
I feel bad for Caroline if she's there because she's probably heard every word of this and she's like trying to sleep and she's like, God damn it.
Well, Caroline's usually awake.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's true. But she hears the whole podcast from my end, and now she's got to put up with me calling Morgan after. All
that, and she still doesn't follow you.
Yeah,
and
she still doesn't want you.
She says she doesn't need to because she hears everything.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
that's
she
true.
could be interacting with us.
That's a good point. It's good. It's a good. I try to make the sell every day. Trust me.
I'm a little hurt. She doesn't.
I mean, I've gotten
wanna
one step
meet
closer
us.
because I've played games with her. But
Right, I need to play Overwatch with Caroline, please.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No. Tell you what, Morgan. I'll set aside time for it, okay?
she doesn't want these
guaranteed.
games. I mean, that's pretty accurate.
All right. Anyways, for Melly's sake, guys,
Yeah, we should. Yeah, clue it
So
up.
you guys said
Thank you.
Decker is on, so we'll just rate him.
Yeah.
I think.
I believe Decker is still on.
Guys,
Does Decker
next
know
week,
about this podcast, or are we gonna have to explain to him when we rate him?
we'll find out in like 10 seconds.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Wait,
next
is
week,
he still
guys, Friday, same time, unless Rory has to do some bullshit like quiz thing.
Decker is not on.
Oh,
Decker's not
isn't
on anymore, it
All
looks
right. Is Paga still on?
Papa is. Oh yeah, she's playing Teamfight Tactics.
Okay.
Excellent.
If any of you guys have any tech questions, hit me up on Discord. Pretty sure everyone in chat right now is in a
Next
similar
week
Discord
we
to me.
have
So
Ion.
Yeah. Next week I got Ian. He's a friend of Morgan's, and he's a friend to us all. And he's been a viewer of the podcast before, and he's been in my stream before, and
Well,
probably a bunch of people's streams.
They'll
and
be
he's a
on
cool
if
guy.
they can be. You're
Yes.
gonna have to message them and ask. The time slot
Yeah.
is fine.
Well, yeah. Make sure everything's good. All right, guys. We'll see you. We see you all next Friday.
Have a nice night.
Bye, guys.
Everybody.
Take it easy.
Thanks for stopping by, guys. All right.
Right.